weekends on the CFL calendar kicks off in Montreal tonight. The Alouettes welcome the BC Lions to town as both teams look to get back to their winning ways. Buckle up, Canada. It's Labor Day weekend in the CFL. Jr. riding a three-game streak of 300-plus passing yards, but I am sure he would go up all the individual statistics to get his Lions back into the win column. On the other side of the field tonight, a big off-season signing finally getting set to make his debut. Greg Ellingson in the lineup for the first time this season after just 21 yards of net offense in the second half against the Blue Bombers. I'm pretty sure the Montreal Alouettes are thrilled to have him for more offense, to say the least. It is Labor Day weekend in the CFL. Dave Burnett alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stegall. Let's get right into it. Key matchups for this opening game, Ches.
Yeah, there's been some chatter about the BC Lions run defense. I spoke to Ryan Phillips, defensive coordinator. He said, simple is more sometimes. He says that he felt like they've been trying to do too much. Well, that's music to the ears of their two defensive tackles, because when you're a defensive player, you just want to get out there and make plays. Josh Banks, Woody Barron, my key matchup is them getting upfield, winning at the point of attack or getting upfield.
Yeah, Jason Moss, new head coach for Montreal this season, off-season acquisition. Cody Fajardo. Fajardo's 4-4 with this football team. Kate, you talk about looking for more offensive prowess and punch. With Ellingson back, look, Cody Fajardo's got no excuses. He struggled during Labor Days. He's 1-2. He's got 1 touchdown to 6 picks in Labor Day Classics. He needs to be better than they were last week against Winnipeg when that offense only produced 3 points. Milt?
Our matchup is Sean Lemon versus the BC Lions. It's no particular player because those players didn't cut him. It was this organization that cut him. So I know he's going there looking to squeeze VA a little bit today. Sean Lemon is going to try to get him 2 or 3 sacks, and most important, he wants to beat this team because this was a team who felt he wasn't able to get it done anymore, and they let him go. So let's see what the Eliminator can do.
Both of these teams needing the win. They're obviously both riding 2-game losing streaks. We'll see who comes out on top tonight. It is Labor Day weekend in the CFL. We're thrilled. The fans are thrilled. A beautiful night in Montreal. We will get you to Rod and Dwayne right after this.
Thank you, Kate Burness, and welcome to Montreal. Labor Day weekend is upon us, and we begin with a non-traditional matchup. But the Lions and Alouettes have a lot in common. 2 second-place teams trying to bounce back after tough losses last week, and they do have a lot of things in common in terms of players and coaches, too, who know both sides. How about Vernon Adams? The classic case, really. Once a star here at QB. It's actually his second game back against his old team.
Yeah, came back right away after he was traded during last season. Saw little playing time in that one. But Vernon Adams looking to get his team back going. He's thrown for almost 800 yards in his last 2 games, but has lost both. As for Cody Fajardo, he came back from the injured list last week, had his lowest passing total of the season after having posted his highest total of the year in his last game before being injured.
The two head coaches have known each other for over 25 years, going back to their days together in Oregon. In fact, Rick Campbell was instrumental in bringing Jason Moss to the CFL as a quarterback in Edmonton. Campbell later gave Moss his first chance to be an offensive coordinator in Ottawa. That was back in 2015 when they were together. As mentioned, both coming off losses. In fact, BC has lost 3 of 4, losing to Hamilton in their first home loss last week. The Lions won the toss. They want the ball. And it's underway from David Kotek to Terry Williams down at the 15. Williams And he comes across the 30 before he is taken down. Reggie Stubblefield in on the special teams tackle. So Vernon Adams, great season with the Alouettes back in 2019, ultimately traded away a year ago, August 31st.
Yeah, fantastic breakout 2019 season for Vernon Adams. Obviously, a canceled season in 2020, I think, really impacted both of the quarterbacks in this game, kind of interrupted their progress, their development as starters. But Vernon Adams looks like he's right back on track here in 2023.
He is second in the CFL in passing yards and passing touchdowns. And he completes that one up across the 40 to get it started to one of his favorite targets, Keon Hatcher.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at the rest of this BC Lions offense. The veteran on that offensive line, of course, Suk Chung. Second overall pick back in 2015 out of the University of Calgary. In the receiving core, you just saw Keon Hatcher, who's been on a little bit of a heater lately. Best three-game run by a BC Lions receiver since one Manny Arsenault.
After the gain of 8, they go to the ground to take Quan Mizell. And it's Frederick Chagnon who took over from the injured Avery Williams a few games ago at middle linebacker with the big stop there to force third down.
Well, Chagnon has been fantastic there. You see him in the middle of this Alouettes defense. Stacked behind Elmondo Sewell, shooting the gap into the backfield to make the play.
So a 2-and-out for Adams and the BC Lions. Chandler Worthy is back to receive this punt from Stephen Flintoff. And Worthy takes it around the Montreal 20. Breaks a bit to his left, and he gets it up to about the 32 for Cody Fajardo to come on for the first possession for the Alouettes in this game. Fajardo having his toughest game as an Alouette last week in Winnipeg. His first game back after missing 2 with an injured shoulder, and threw for only 173 yards.
Yeah, Montreal hung tough in the first half of that ball game, buoyed by the play of their defense. But offense just unable to get on track in the second half of that one as Winnipeg widened the gap on them.
137 passing last week in Winnipeg, excuse me. They had 173 total offense in that game. Really struggling in the second half. Throwing right away on first down and completes 2 to Tyler Sneed. And a first down on first down up across the 45.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the supporting cast with which Cody Fajardo has to work. Offensive line looking to set the tone, and they'll count on the youngest member of that group, Pierre-Olivier Lestage, to get things going, set the tone physically. And of course, in the receiving core, you heard the panel mention Greg Ellingson making his Montreal Alouettes debut, adding some experience to that receiving core.
A gain of 15 yards up to the Alouette 47. A little toss here to William Stanback. They want to get him going. And he's going here. Another first down on the ground. We're curious to see if the Alouettes can establish that running game. A pickup of 13 yards for William Stanback.
Yeah, and you'll see Pierre-Olivier Lestage coming right into your living room, leading the way for William Stanback. Shows his speed getting around the corner, getting north-south. Greg Ellingson getting involved physically here in his first game of 2023.
Stanback has had only 100-yard game this season. Last week, he had 8 carries for only 32 yards, his longest of 7. He's beaten that longest on his first carry here. That's put Montreal across midfield into Lions territory. The play fake. Fajardo steps up, takes off inside the 45, but the Lions tries to slide before he goes down. He is met there by the strong side linebacker Manny Rugamba.
Yeah, we'll take a look at Cody Fajardo's decision to take off here. Drops back, you see Betts inside, a little bit of pressure, and he's gone. Looked like he might have had down the boundary side seam Austin Mack open early, but Fajardo with a little bit of pressure decides to tuck and run.
He picks up 7 there. He came in averaging nearly 6 yards a carry this season. So on that second down and short, they go back to Stanback, who pushes it through, and it looks like he has enough for a first down and a pickup of 4.
And here is the BC Lions defense, a group you can't really talk about without mentioning Matthew Betts. Something of a homecoming for him. Not sure how many tickets he's got for this one. Bo Lacumbo 2021 Most Outstanding Canadian is at the weak side linebacker spot, former Alouette. And Mike Jones checks in at the field corner position. He's in for Edwards-Cooper this week.
The BC 38. Tyler Sneed will throw and complete it way downfield to Austin Mack. Little trickery on offense early on for the Alouettes too, and it works on the toss to Sneed and sets up and plays quarterback and completes a big one downfield.
Yeah, watch for Sneed coming left to right on your screen. They'll get him the ball. Handoff there behind the quarterback. Good wall in front of him setting up. Little stock block by Austin Mack. Let the defender go by, thinking he's stopping the run play. Finds himself open.
Gain of 24 inside the 15. Alouettes on the move. Fajardo's on the move, scrambling away. Gets rid of it to the left, and it's a bit too far for Sneed there. And with the safety, Quincy Moget on the coverage. Out of bounds it goes. Second down coming up.
Yeah, pressure again. Fajardo forced to escape to his left. Looking for Sneed along that sideline with Woody Barron closing in. But that one, I think, already out of bounds prior to Sneed even getting his hands on it.
Woody Barron, one of many ex-Alouettes now on the Lions defense from the 14. This is Montreal's first possession of this young game in scoring position. Fajardo wants to take off again, and that time he cannot get away. As Sione Tehema wraps him up and takes him down in a field goal situation coming up now for the Owls.
Yeah, lots of pre-snap motion here for Montreal. The BC defense not fooled, able to stay with it. Tehema in on the tackle.
So David Cote in his third year out of Laval, 27 of 32 this season. Will try to score the first points of this game. Zima putting it down and Cote putting it through. They didn't get to the end zone, but they moved the ball well to take the advantage, and Vernon Adams Jr. and the BC Lions trying to end a two-game losing streak here at the start of Labor Day weekend of the CFL on TSN. Vernon Adams Jr. traded by the Alouettes after he had lost his job to Trevor Harris. And that was right at the end of August of 2022 when Nathan Rourke was hurt. He stood in and did well with the Lions. Some memories, though, of what he did as a member of the Alouettes, including 2019 when he threw for nearly 4,000 yards. And fond memories of playing in Montreal for that man, Adams. Got off to a good start with the BC Lions. He won 6 games as a starter last year. His record as a starter this year, missed a couple of games with injuries, is 6-3. On the ground, Daquan Mizell. As he gets it up near the 45 for Montreal.
Take a look at the Montreal Alouette defense in this one. They look to be tough against Mizell in that run game. Armando Sewell certainly will be a key. We mentioned Chagnon at middle linebacker.
That is complete. Just over Cordell Rogers and complete to Keon Hatcher. Rogers close to getting his hands on it, but no, it ends up being a gain of 16 and a big play for BC.
Yeah, Rogers taking a little bit of a gamble on that one.
So they blow it dead before the snap of the ball.
Procedure, illegal procedure, BC, number 59, 5'9". First down, 5 verts.
Calling the right tackle, Kent Perkins, for procedure before the ball was snapped, negating that play in a 1st and 15 coming up for BC. Putting it back to the Alouette 54. Marc-Antoine Duquois, who had an interception for a touchdown and another pick last week. A solid performance in a losing cause against the Blue Bombers. The safety, 1st and 15, flushed out to the right. Adams, Mustafa Johnson chasing him, but Adams gets away. And a good pickup as he gets it down, well, close to 10 yards on that play. 2nd down coming up.
Yeah, Alouettes essentially going with a 3-man front, dropping Sean Lemon in behind to try and stunt, but things get clogged up in the middle, which allows Vernon Adams to escape to the outside for that pickup.
Call it a gain of 10. It is 2nd and 5. Adams, the 7 and 4 BC Lions, 2nd place in the West Division. Alouettes, 2nd place in the East behind the Argos. Pressure coming, and Adams has to get it away early, intended for Alexander Hollins, who was a game-time decision, but does get the start in this one, but it falls before his feet, and a 3rd down is coming up for BC.
And you'll see J.R. Reed already in motion trying to time this one up. Strong side cover linebacker. He's in Adams' face. Vernon comes up short on the rush delivery.
And so in Alouette territory on a 3rd and 5, BC is going for it. So a few 3rd down gambles last week against Hamilton. The blitz coming. It's complete to Justin McInnes, and a good call for the Lions because they get more than what they need to move the sticks. A 1st down BC after a gain of 11. McInnes. Yeah,
McInnes is just going to shoot out to the flat here from the slot. You'll see him get his head around right away, knowing that he's open here. They have a rub set up for him, but he really didn't need it as the Alouettes were a little slow getting to that flat regardless.
The drive continues for Adams and BC. Down inside the Alouette 35. Mizell, going left and not going very far at all as the Alouettes have him all bottled up for a 2nd and long coming up.
Oh, good run support from the Montreal Alouettes secondary. 2 youngsters playing on the boundary side. Cordell Rogers, Reggie Stubblefield slides over. He's been playing the field halfback spot with Deontay Evans out of the lineup. This week Evans is back, but Wesley Sutton is out, so Stubblefield slides over to the boundary this week with Evans in his traditional field half spot.
Evans had been on the 6, injured back in week 3. Adams steps up and takes off, and he gets inside the 25 on that 2nd and 7. And it looks to be another 1st down, a pickup of 8 for the Lions.
Yeah, watch for the middle to just open up here, giving Vernon Adams an opportunity. All the rushers outside. Easy lane for Adams to pick up the 1st down.
BC on the move. The Montreal 23. Alouettes lead it by a field goal. Adams with time. And he looked like he had a receiver. It's knocked away at the line of scrimmage. Sean Lemon, who's notable for his prowess in the sack department, but bottling up that play for Adams and the Lions.
Yeah, watch for Lemon to come on his rush, and then he's going to sort of work back into that throwing lane. Patience of a veteran, recognizing he's not going to get there, so he slips back inside, watching the quarterback's eyes, places himself perfectly in the lane to make a play against the team that released him in training camp this year.
And tied for the lead in sacks, by the way, with 4, despite the late arrival. So 10th play of the drive. Adams steps up again and takes off. And more success on the ground. Adams inside the 10 and out of bounds just inside the 6-yard line. It'll be a 1st and goal for BC.
Yeah, the value of a quarterback who can use his legs when things break down. Vernon Adams demonstrating that here. So elusive in the open field. A couple of big plays to keep this drive going for the BC Lions.
You know what Adams can do throwing the football. 2nd leading passer in the CFL coming into this week. And we'd already known from his days in Montreal how dangerous he can be when he takes off and runs. Proving it again on this drive. To throw to the left, to the end zone. Touchdown. BC Lions and Alexander Hollins. who, as mentioned, was a game-time decision. We weren't sure if he was going to play, and he's got the first touchdown of this game.
Yeah, a little assist on this one goes to Lucky Whitehead. You're going to see Whitehead come from inside the formation. He goes to the flat. Hollins is sneaking deep, but what that's going to do is essentially freeze the corner. Ento, as he sees Whitehead coming towards him, pauses for a second. Little confusion, it appeared, between Ento and Evans in terms of who was getting deep on that one. Alexander Hollins, the beneficiary.
And his 5th receiving touchdown that ties him for the team lead with Dominic Rhymes, who's injured and out, has missed the last several games. So on their next possession, a drive that included a gamble on 3rd and 5. They moved it down, capped off by that. Hollins touchdown, 7-3 BC. Back in Montreal, the Lions, Alexander Hollins with the touchdown, a 6-yard reception from Vernon Adams Jr., and BC has the lead after an 11-play, 70-yard drive. 34 of those yards coming thanks to 3 carries by Adams.
Yeah, Adams setting the tone early with a couple of runs, reminding the Alouettes that there's another element to defend when the ball's in his hands.
Chandler Worthy takes the Stephen Flintoff kick. And good coverage on special teams by BC as he is taken down shy of the Alouette 30. Last time Montreal had the ball, they moved down and got close in the red zone, settled for a field goal. 7-3 BC. Vernon Adams Jr.'s first start against his old team since leaving, and an impressive drive here, Dwayne.
Yeah, it certainly was, and Vernon was the guy that keyed it, as you mentioned, Rod, providing almost half the yards in this drive with his legs. A couple of key completions as well along the way. But a sharp-looking start to this game for Vernon Adams. Drive completed with the touchdown pass to one Alexander Hollins, the BC Lions' leading receiver.
And 3rd in the CFL coming in yardage. Getting his 5th touchdown, and they're on the ground for William Stanback, nothing doing against the Lions defense that had a tougher time last week against James Butler and the Ticats with the running game.
Well, they certainly did. One of the big stories of that ball game was the Ticats' ability to move the football along the ground. Against these Lions, they look to answer that challenge here, knowing they're facing a big physical Montreal O-line, and obviously William Stanback's resume speaks for itself.
They gave up 132 in the ground last week, worst of the season for BC. Fajardo throwing and completing it to Cole Speaker, back from the practice roster and inserted back into the roster now. Picks up his first catch of this game, a gain of 21 for the Alouettes.
Yeah, some juggling in that Montreal receiving core this week. Speaker gets back in. Herji Mayala was released as they elect to only start one Canadian receiver. A lot of that having to do with the success that Frederic Chagnon has had as a starting middle linebacker. They pick up a Canadian starter on defense, go with one less on offense. Speaker and Ellingson coming in certainly provide a little more size.
Legal contact on a receiver. Contact illégal sur un receveur. BC number 1, numéro 1. Penalty refusé. Penalty declined. First down.
No need to take that penalty after the gain there by Cole Speaker for a first down to the Alouette. Speaker in his 2nd year out of Wisconsin lacrosse. Got a start late in the season for the Alouettes last year. In the Montreal 50. Rolling out, dumping it off to Greg Ellingson. That's his first catch as a member of the Montreal Alouettes. He was a big free agent signing in the offseason, but couldn't start the season because of a knee injury. This is his first game tonight.
Yeah, Greg Ellingson is a guy who's just been so consistently productive throughout his career in the Canadian Football League. 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons from 2015 to 2019. Has really only had one season in his entire career where he hasn't been at a 1,000-yard pace, whether other seasons have been interrupted by injury or not.
Played in 8 games with Winnipeg last year, including 4 catches in the Grey Cup. Well, here's Fajardo taking off after that first down catch by Ellingson, and he gets it down to the 40, and it looks like another first down close to it. About 10 more yards on the ground for Cody Fajardo.
Yeah, well-timed draw here by the Montreal Alouettes. offensively, as you'll see the great separation between levels. D-line gets upfield. The linebackers have dropped basically to the first down marker. Cody gets those 10 yards untouched.
Running quarterbacks in this game so far. We've seen Fajardo take off a couple of times, and mentioning Vernon Adams Jr. and the success he had on their touchdown drive on the ground.
Keep it in front. Keep it in front.
From the BC 40. Alouettes trail by 4, and that is complete. And that is down to Tyler Sneed, and a pickup of 5 more yards, Montreal.
And what a terrific find Tyler Sneed has been for the Montreal Alouettes. 5 touchdowns for him in just 8 games so far this season, tied for 3rd in the Canadian Football League in receiving TDs, former East Carolina Pirate.
And one of the things Jason Moss likes about him, he is not afraid to take on much bigger human beings and block. He stands only 5'7" and a valuable asset. Pump fake, deep look, right side. Austin Mack had it down in his hands, but he couldn't hang on. Would have been a brilliant catch just off the fingertips in the end zone, but it falls incomplete.
Well, this reminds me of a great conversation we had with Cody Fajardo several weeks ago before he got hurt. He talked about sometimes you throw the ball and you get hit. You don't know what the result is. You're just listening to the crowd. Lots of excitement from the crowd on this one as they waited to see if Austin Mack was going to come up with it, but just unable to make the squeeze as his elbows were hitting the turf.
So instead of field goal try coming up again, David Cote 1 for 1 in the night. He had a 23-yarder earlier. Last time they went down the field, this from 42 away and right down the middle. He goes 2 for 2, and we now have a 1-point game. Alouettes have scored in their possessions, a couple of field goals. Beautiful early September night in Montreal as we get Labor Day weekend kicked off. Vernon Adams had a lot of great times, games, memories here in Montreal. Favorite memory was this game in 2019 here at Molson Stadium. The Alouettes trailed by 20 in the 4th quarter, and they came back and beat Winnipeg. With more on his time here, let's go down and say hello to Kenzie Lalonde. Kenzie?
Yeah, Rod, when Dwayne asked Vernon Adams what his most memorable moment was here at Percival Molson Stadium, without hesitation, he brought up that game. It remains the largest comeback victory for the Alouettes in franchise history. And as he continued to reflect on his time in Montreal, he shared that he was here over the 7 years where he learned how to be a professional. Now as he dons the black and orange and continues to be a positive leader, especially through his actions. Matthew Betts shared with me that you can often find Vernon loading the bags off the bus with the equipment managers late at night, often at the facility till around 5 a.m. And I asked Vernon why, and he said whether he's dressing, backup, or hurt, he wants to show his team and his organization how much he cares.
Interesting story about his time in Montreal, Kenzie. Thank you. And he's facing some heat now from probably a couple of old teammates in there as a flag comes out as he is sacked. Armando Sewell is in the mix for Adams, who was initially traded
Illegal
for.
contact on the receiver. Contact illégal sur un receveur. Montréal numéro 4, number 4. 10-yard penalty will result in a first down. Premier essai.
Traded for by the Alouettes from BC, who had his rights back in 2016 and then went back the other way. But here's a look at the penalty.
Yeah, we'll take a look here. Hatcher, the 2 receiver, as he tries to give that the double move, the in and up. BB tried to break Evans on that initial route. Caught him.
Negates the sack. Penalty against the Alouettes. So a first down at the BC 50. Lions leading by a point. And over the middle, it's incomplete. Intended for Javon Catoy, throwing it into coverage. And a 2nd and 10 coming up. But yeah, so Adams had really 2 stints with the Alouettes. That one when BC traded his rights, and then later came back and had a lot of successes we talked about later, including 2019.
Yeah, after stops in Saskatchewan and Hamilton, he made his way back to Montreal. That 2019 season, the breakout year where you see 4th highest single season touchdown pass mark in Alouette history. He wasn't even the starter, if you recall, to start that season. It was Antonio Pipkin.
And Adams completes that one for a first down, BC. Back to the guy with the touchdown for the Lions earlier in this game, Alexander Hollins, and a pickup of 12 more.
Yeah, Hollins going to work here out on the wide side versus Kabianento. job working back to that ball on the sidelines.
This should be the last play of the first quarter. BC ball. And that one is complete as well as he goes back to Catoy. Javon Catoy and getting it inside the Montreal 35 for another first down. 15 more yards for the Lions, who, like the last drive, are on the move. They went in, got a touchdown on a 6-yard pass to Hollins. And we're getting in scoring position again, leading by 1 through the first 15 minutes here in Montreal. Look at the numbers through one quarter. It's the Lions with the lead, but they are pressing again. And you look at all those numbers, though, the one that really stood out was number 3 BC, Vernon Adams Jr. Really, this is his first game back against his old team. You had mentioned just 5 days after he was traded a year ago, he got in for a couple of plays, but didn't know the playbook. Looking awfully good tonight.
Yeah, he really is. And obviously, there's been a great comfort synergy between he and his offensive coordinator, Jordan Maximek. Going back to Vernon Adams joining the BC Lions last season, they've really connected an off-season to work together in terms of preparing for this season has obviously paid off.
A look at the Lions offensive coordinator. The BC offense that at times has been very explosive. Even 2 weeks ago in a loss in Saskatchewan, completed a lot of deep passes in that fourth quarter, and they were down big time and ended up coming back and losing by only 5. Adams, left side deep. Lucky Whitehead getting in on the act. No, he isn't. Foot knocked down, and that is incomplete.
Close play along the sideline here. You'll see the matchup. Like Lucky Whitehead, Reggie Stubblefield, the halfback, has got to get out there, and that bobble cost him the completion. As initially you see the feet in bounds, but he didn't have control of the football. That allows Stubblefield to get there and make the play.
Feet not the issue. Hanging on to the ball was there for Whitehead. 2nd and 10 now at the Montreal 34. BC pressing now to increase their lead. It's down to 1, and that one's incomplete. So longer field goal tried to be coming up. The intended receiver there was Justin McInnes.
Yeah, McInnes, one of a number of Quebec natives playing on this BC Lions team. Enjoying a little bit of a homecoming this week. It's been a nice off-season signing for McInnes, formerly a high draft pick of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Sean White had a streak of 23 broken up with his first try last week against Hamilton, but he remains by percentage the most accurate kicker this season in the CFL, and that won't hurt as he puts it through, and BC does make it a 4-point lead once again. 41-yard kick for Sean White. He is still good for all but 2 this year, and Cody Fajardo and the Alouettes offense, who've had success moving the football, Dwayne, settling for field goals so far, but back on again here in the second quarter.
Yeah, cracking that end zone's been a little bit of a challenge for the Alouettes offense in recent weeks. An issue they look to correct here.
Didn't have a touchdown offensively last week in Winnipeg. Jesper Antwi is the ball carrier as he pushes that one close to a first down, to be a couple of yards shy. Pickup of 8 up near the Montreal 50.
And Antwi, one of so many former Calgary Dinos. He a part of the 2019 Vanier Cup championship team, making an impact in the Canadian Football League in recent years. Walter Fletcher not dressed tonight, by the way, so Antwi will get the bulk of those carries in relief of William Stanback.
2nd and short. Antwi again, left side. Just had to get to the 50. He got more than that. So a first down after a gain of 3 for Antwi and the Owls.
Well, we'll see if they're able to continue to establish that ground game a little bit, going 2 backs on those couple of plays with James Tuck, the fullback, in the ball game. See former Alouette great Anthony Calvillo still obviously contributing to their offensive success.
Fajardo now on first down. He completes that coming out of the backfield as Antwi. Looks like he has another first as he gets it inside the Lion 50. So after a pickup of 11, William Stanback getting a break, and Antwi's getting some work here in the second quarter.
Yeah, free release to the flat. Just a quick hitter here for Cody Fajardo. Antwi able to make his way to that first down marker. He informs Kenzie Lalonde that that was a first down.
And a great view for Kenzie there as Jesper Antwi signals first down. The BC 48. Back to the ground. Antwi. He cannot break that tackle, though. Coming in for BC and stopping Antwi in his tracks after a gain of only 1 yard.
Again, one of the big storylines coming out of the loss to Hamilton last week for the BC Lions was the success that Hamilton had running the ball against them. But obviously did not fall on deaf ears here in Montreal.
David Menard on the tackle, a former Alouette. Played here a couple of years ago. Fajardo. Well, he gets away for a while anyway. Little tug on the jersey. Josh Banks finally does haul him down, but he managed to pick up a couple more yards, but not nearly enough. It's a third down coming up.
Yeah, four-man rush. Menard twisting to the inside. Able to get hands on Fajardo and slow him down a little bit. Allowing Banks to get him as he recovers on the play.
So Joseph Zima coming on to punt for the first time in this game. Terry Williams is back for the return, as is Marcus Sales. Zima tied for the lead in net punting average in the CFL. It's Sales who takes it and just gets across the 10 before he is taken down by the long snapper, Louis-Philippe Bourassa. Fajardo and the Owls, that possession stalls for the first time in this game, and they trail by 4.
When we were in Calgary and Edmonton, and we had a little flea flicker that we did towards the end of the game that we kind of just threw in the last minute and kind of drew it up in the dirt on the sideline. And that was something fun to do, that seeing something on the sideline that you adjust to in the middle of the game and seeing it pay off for a big W on Labor Day is something that you can kind of look back and be proud of.
Greg Ellingson, well, he knows the rivalries, a small part in all of them, a bigger one in Edmonton, remembering his days with Edmonton up against Calgary. But yeah, OK Tire Labor Day weekend, it continues. Bombers, Riders, that traditional meeting on Sunday. That's the next one. This is a non-traditional Labor Day showdown, and it is close early going with BC holding on to a 4-point lead, and that one completed to Justin McInnes.
I would refer to this matchup, Rod, as semi-traditional. As between BC, Montreal, and Ottawa, that everybody's trying to find a dance partner. 3 teams, only 1 game to be played. In recent years, it's been Montreal, Ottawa, but these 2 teams getting back together.
For the 14th time, actually, on Labor Day weekend. First time, though, since 2015. Second in inches on that play. And looks like the Lions have a first down. Sometimes Adams in those situations yields to former Alouette quarterback Dominic Davis, but that time keeping it himself for the first down.
Dominic Davis has kind of made a name for himself the last couple of years as a short yardage quarterback. After a number of years in the league, 13 touchdown season a year ago, most of those coming from just 1 or 2 yards out.
So now on 1st and 10 from the BC 24. Throwing, but it's just a little beyond Alexander Hollins, who was coming back and a little ahead of him and tried to one-hand it, but down it goes, second down.
Yeah, Hollins with his momentum headed towards the sideline. This ball's thrown a little bit behind him. Tough to stop the momentum of your body and get turned back to that.
Vernon saying that's on me. Heard Kenzie talked about Vernon Adams earlier and the consummate teammate. All sorts of stories about how unselfish that he has been. Remembered that way in Montreal as well. On second down, taking off to the right and dumping it off. It goes off Chagnon's helmet, intended for Javon Catoy. Chagnon in coverage, and he wasn't looking, but it hit him, and it falls down, and now the Lions are going to have to punt.
Yeah, watch for Chagnon on the right edge of your screen. He's going to go in coverage. Mizell, the running back, on the scramble, trying to get upfield, but Chagnon's got his body in the right place to make the stop on that one.
Mizell was the intended receiver on that, and close to blocking that punt are the Alouettes, getting some pressure in there on Flintoff. Worthy with it, and left side, and flag comes out as he gets up across midfield and more. And we'll sort out that flag when we come back. Frederic Chagnon. Big defensive play that he didn't get to see. His Alouettes trailing by 4, second quarter in Montreal. Well, he is the CFL sack leader. What a story Matthew Betts has been, including the last time they played Montreal. Betts with a couple of sacks to Cody Fajardo. He has 12 on the season. And, of course, he is from Montreal, and you know how much it means and how many people want to see him play live. Let's go back to Kenzie.
And we are still trying to get a head count on how many. Last I heard from Matthew Betts' father, Martin, around 124 family and friends are in attendance tonight to watch him play. In particular, around 20 of his faculty members from Collège Notre Dame, which is actually his alma mater of high school. He taught there over the winters of last year, phys ed, grades 10 and 11. There's around 20 faculty in the audience tonight wearing the high school jerseys.
Team Betts out in full force. Couldn't get enough tickets for the family and friends that wanted to come. Thank you, Kenzie. And that's Tyson Philpott, a gain of 16 from Cody Fajardo.
Tyson Philpott, first-round pick, one of 2 first-round picks for the Alouettes in 2022. Tyrell Richards, of course, the other. You're going to see Philpott coming from the bottom of your screen here across in front of the quarterback, free into the flat. And this is kind of standard Tyson Philpott, catching the ball near the line of scrimmage and going to work. Terrific yak yard producer.
On first down, back in the hands of William Stanback. Nothing doing. The middle linebacker, Ben Haladic, came in, had it read, and takes Stanback down for no gain.
Ben Haladic having a big year. Second year as a starter in this BC Lions defense. Got an opportunity when Jordan Williams was hurt a year ago and kind of hung on to that role. So he and Bo Lacumbo, 2 Canadians starting in the linebacking core. Jordan Williams traded to Toronto in the offseason.
Played all his football in BC, minor football. He's from Vernon. A high school star, went on to UBC, and now with the Lions. It was actually a loss of 1, and they're not getting much here as Tehema comes in on Fajardo, the second most sacked quarterback in the CFL coming into this game. And that's it for the Alouettes on that possession. They'll have to kick it away.
You see 47 Tehema coming from his defensive end spot. 3-man front, 3-man rush. Just to beat Landon Rice, coming back underneath. As Fajardo steps upfield. Matthew Betts never too far from the action.
Lucky Whitehead, excuse me, Terry Williams is back there. On that return up to the 25, and a flag has come out too on that punt. Sione Tehema, second year out of southeastern Louisiana, adds another sack of Cody Fajardo. The Lions with the ball and leading it by 4.
They're 16.
They keep getting better, don't they, Dwayne?
They really do.
Is that how I sell you on this? It's the round of 16. This is week 13 in the Canadian Football League. Labor Day weekend starting off on a Saturday night in Montreal. Lions lead. Vernon Adams Jr. from his end zone completes it. That'll buy him some much-needed space as Justin McInnes gets it up to about the 24 BC. So pinned deep into their zone. One big play buys them a reprieve.
Yeah, I mentioned Justin McInnes, 6th overall pick back in 2019 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Limited opportunity for him there, but enjoying kind of a breakout season of his own here with the BC Lions.
After that gain of 19, and it's Taquan Mizell, the ball carrier, gets it up across the 30. Mizell in his first year as the feature running back for BC. Of course, it was James Butler last year who got a bit of payback last week when the Ticats came to town. Picks up 8 yards. 2nd and 2 coming up. The crowd picks up here at Molson Stadium. Mizell, by the way, coming in 7th in the league in rushing at 5'19", heading into this game.
Timeout, temps d'arrêt, BC.
Jason Moss talking to Cody Fajardo. Said they've been able to. They've had some good possessions, been able to move the football, just haven't been able to cash in.
Yeah, showing flashes, a couple near misses. Almost had that Austin Mack diving catch in the end zone. It would have been a big one here in a tight game.
Here we go, 2nd and short now. BC. Adams to throw, and does, and completes it for a 1st down and more. And that ends up being the first catch of this game for Lucky Whitehead. Targeted again and gets it up across the 45. A pickup of 16 more yards. J.R. Reed still isn't up. Whitehead was slow getting up. The strong side linebacker for the Alouettes is hurt.
Yeah, Whitehead's going to line up tight to the formation here. Just working quickly across the field underneath. You see the traffic there to free him up. Creating a couple picks or rubs. Create a little space for Lucky Whitehead. He does a nice job getting upfield in a hurry once he catches that football to knife through the defenders and pick up that 1st down.
And Reed, you see there in on the tackle, remains down on the field. And slowly gets up with some help now. 1st year Alouette, and will need some help getting off. 1st year out of Georgia. His father Jake was a solid receiver with the Minnesota Vikings for many years. And needs lots of help to get up. There have been several injuries on that Alouette defense in particular. The latest was Wesley Sutton last week in Vancouver, or excuse me, in Winnipeg, got injured. Tyrell Richards as well.
Yeah, and it seems in that secondary, every time they get someone back, they're losing someone. We mentioned off the top. Deontay Evans coming back this week, but Wesley Sutton had gone down. We now see J.R. Reed, the nickel linebacker, considered part of that secondary group as well. He goes down. Raheem Wilson also available this week, the former Calgary Stampeder. He had been on the injured list, so he's coming back. Najee Murray, Nafis Lyon, Deontay Ruffin, all guys that have been on the injured list. Experienced guys on the back end. Creating some challenges for the Alouettes coaching staff here, piecing the puzzle together.
You see number 45, newcomer Brody Buck, in on defense now for the Alouettes. Adams rolled to the right, and Buck chasing him as that one goes deep down the field, but to no one, falls incomplete.
Yeah, Brody Buck, we've seen him for a couple of defensive snaps. He provided the pressure quickly on that one as we see J.R. Reed headed to the Alouette locker room.
Second meeting of the season between the Lions and Alouettes. They met back in week 5. BC won that one. And their first Labor Day weekend meeting in 8 years. 2nd and 10. Another deep look right down the middle for Hollins. He's got it! And another Lions touchdown. But Alexander Hollins has a 62-yard touchdown, and the Lions add to their lead.
Well, this is putting a lot of faith in your receiver to make a play for you, as Vernon Adams is just going to put this one up as he's under siege. And Alexander Hollins, not the biggest body, 6 feet at $175. Going into traffic, you don't necessarily expect him to win all those battles. But great concentration. He comes down with that one. Appeared to go right through the hands of the Alouette defender who came over on that one.
5 plays, 105 yards. Remember, they started deep in their zone. Sean White with the point after. Yeah, Kabian Ento coming across with Marc-Antoine Dubois. Went for the ball, and it ended up coming through to Hollins, who now is the Lions leader. Saw him there with Dominic Rhymes earlier, but that's his 6th touchdown catch this season.
And watch for Hollins, the inside receiver on this one, as they come out of the cluster. Break from that stack. He heads for the post. Ento is following him from that corner. Dubois trying to get back to help out. And you'll see Ento makes a diving attempt to make a play on the ball. In between his hands, Hollins. Just tremendous concentration, surrounded by defenders, one of them flashing in front of the ball at the last second. He comes up with the grab, much to the pleasure of his quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr. Hollins with his 2nd major of the night here in Montreal.
I was going to say, how tough would that catch be? That might be underappreciated, how difficult that is.
Well, yeah, it's one thing if someone jumps for it well in front of you, but to have someone flash that close to the ball, that close. To the receiver, Hollins comes up big.
Chandler Worthy now. The Alouettes trailing by 11 all of a sudden with one quick strike on a very quick drive of 105 yards and just those 5 plays for another BC touchdown. As we were late approaching the 3-minute mark and 3-minute warning of the first half.
Watch the play action shot.
So over to you, Montreal. And it's unlike the game in Winnipeg where they just struggled to move the ball, period.
Hey, be ready, Mike. Stay locked in. Let's go.
The numbers for Fajardo, as I said already, that leading an offense that has looked sharper, except for the fact, as we talked about, they're getting field goals. They've got to find the end zone at some point. And trying for it on one big bite right now is the receiver, the intended one falling down. That's Tyson Philpott. And a deep strike there. But to no avail, it's incomplete. It's a 2nd and 10 coming up from the Alouette 36.
Yeah, Philpott had half a step on his man, but just unable to connect there.
Fajardo gets rid of it. Pays the price from Thibaut Debaye. 11-point Lions lead. 3-minute warning.
It's Labor Day weekend, so that means all hands on deck. We have Davis Sanchez in studio. We have Matt Donegan, the one and only Milt Stegall. Paul Appelese is here. And no, we didn't forget about Jim Barker. We're trying to FaceTime you, Jimmy. Answer your phone.
The gang's all here. Almost. Darn FaceTime. Thank you, Kate. The extended panel in studio with thoughts in the first half of the first game of Labor Day weekend. The 3 big rivalries coming up after this game, Sunday and Monday. Fajardo, stepping in front of it with a chance to pick it off is Quincy Mosier, and a flag comes out back in the Alouette backfield as Fajardo took a hit as he got rid of that one.
Yeah, a couple of flags popped up right at the end of that play, but dangerous throw here. We'll see the hit on Fajardo, like a bit of a
major foul, roughing the passer, BC number 93. Rudesse sur le passeur, BC numéro 93, 15 verges de pénalité, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Amir Siddiqui gets flagged for that. And the roughing the passer and Cody Fajardo. So 2:41 on the clock, and now they're up across the 50. Montreal is trailing at 17-6. 2 goals for the Alouettes in this game. There's William Stanback, midfield, and more. But a 13-yard pickup on the ground. Biggest carry of the first half for him, and that's the second biggest as he gets close to another Alouette first down.
And a nice push by the Alouette offensive line here, moving that line of scrimmage, giving William Stanback an opportunity to go to work.
Stanback, a few years ago, the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League, but it's been a bit slower for him. 9th in the league in rushing, coming in at 479. Gain of 9 there, so 2nd and 1. Little play action fake, and then rolling out and taking off is Fajardo. First down and much more as he gets it down inside the 40 as this drive will continue late in the first half for the Alouettes.
Yeah, you forget sometimes just how fast Cody Fajardo is, but watch him gain ground on the pursuing defenders here. Just takes off on David Menard once he comes around that corner. Good heads-up play from Cody Fajardo to move the sticks.
They spot the ball right at the BC 40. Lions 17, a couple of Alexander Holland's touchdowns. Montreal 6, a couple of David Cote field goals. Looking to end the half with more than just 3. Fajardo. And that one coming back for it is Philpott, just a couple of yards past the line of scrimmage. And he does get the catch. Still a 2nd and long coming up.
And it was almost tough to tell initially when Fajardo threw this football if it was intended for Philpott or if he was just trying to get this one out of bounds.
Speed alert!
But number 6, quick 6 junior maybe. Getting back to that one.
2nd and long. Lions 38. Fajardo completes that. Austin Mack and more. Yards after the catch from Mack. Who's one of the noted receivers leading the way in the Canadian Football League for that department, in addition to total yards coming into this game and a big first down, Alouettes.
Yeah, and as you watch this and look at the acceleration, first couple steps by Austin Mack once he catches that football, kind of gets off the spot away from the defender and then explodes upfield to turn this into a big gain.
Gain of 26. Mack with the yak down inside the 15. Mark it at the BC 12. Can the Alouettes find the end zone this time? Close that gap. Little pump fake and stepping up is Fajardo, and down he goes. And he is getting nothing there. Good pressure by the Lions up front.
A big 2nd down here for the Montreal Alouettes. We've talked about them settling for field goals when they move the ball into scoring territory in this ball game. Once again, the BC Lions defensive front gets to Montreal's quarterback, but they got to punch it in here.
Thibaut Debaye finishing off that on Fajardo. A loss of 3, 2nd and 13 at the Lions 15. Fajardo with a flag out, just throwing it away. Couple of flags thrown on that, and big penalty flags they are at this stage of the game, and spot on the field for Montreal.
Offside, hors-jeu, BC, 5-yard penalty, 5 verges de pénalité. 2nd down repeated, 2e reprise.
A big reprieve there for the Montreal Alouettes offense.
So it goes to 2nd and 8 with the 5-yard penalty. Woody Barron, ex-Alouette, is the injured BC Lion. He's mentioned one of several with a connection to Montreal on that BC defense. Barron played with the Alouettes from 2018 to 21, signing on with BC last year in his 5th CFL season out of Virginia Tech. But you've got him. David Menard had a season with the Alouettes. And of course, in terms of Montreal connections, Matthew Betts being from this city. And Joshua Archibald. You also got Nick Usher making his debut tonight for BC, and he was just let go by the Alouettes a month ago to make way for Sean Lemon.
And all in that defensive line group, the rookie Francis Bemy as well. Montreal native. Lots of, no doubt, great Montreal stories being told in a D-line room, fittingly led by John Bowman.
I was going to say, we saw him talking at Menard a moment ago. He's heading into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame soon and will be honored here for just some stellar seasons with the Alouettes. Their sack leader all time, John Bowman, the defensive line coach now with the BC Lions. So mentioning connections all over the place between these two teams. There's Bowman. And with due respect to Cody Fajardo and Trevor Harris before him, that is the greatest number 7 the Montreal Alouettes have had.
Yes, sir. Absolute Alouette legend. One of the Canadian Football League's career sack leaders. All in one uniform.
On 2nd and 8, Fajardo tries to take off. Coming in was Bo Lacombo, and they limit the damage there. A 3rd down coming up, and the field goal team will have to come on again. So progress for that Alouette offense, but still no touchdown to show for it.
Yeah, look for a second there early, like Fajardo might have a chance to go, but the Lion defenders, level by level, kept getting loose and popping into his path.
They love the work of David Cote. They probably wish they'd seen him a little less often in this one as they've gotten close but not in. But he's perfect. 3 for 3, a 16-yarder. And they're up to 9 points, but they are down by 8 with just over a minute to go until halftime.
And now up to the BC defense.
Now, wait a minute. So we see Burness and Sanchez and Dunnigan and Stiegel. I don't see LaPolice, and I don't see any FaceTime screen grab of Parker, which probably should be there too, unless they haven't been able to figure it out yet. But it's an extended panel coming up with thoughts and halftime.
Yeah, Jim's gone AWOL.
He doesn't want to be bothered right now. He's watching the game.
I think Jim was overwhelmed by last weekend's birthday celebrations.
87, by the way. Can you believe that?
It looks great for his age.
That's incredible. I had no idea he was that old. On the sweep, it's Hollins. Good, solid first half that man has had. When there were doubts if he was going to be healthy enough to play, he's got both BC touchdowns. Little conversation now with Cordell Rogers and Hollins exchanging some pleasantries, I'm sure.
We'll keep an eye on that matchup going forward, see who gets the last word.
BC Lions 7-4. 3 of those 4 losses come in the last 4 weeks, including 2 in a row to Hamilton last week at home and then the week before that in Saskatchewan. And Montreal had a 4-game winning streak broken up last week in Winnipeg.
Time count violation, BC number 3. The penalty is loss of down. It will be 3rd down. Trop de temps à remettre le ballon en jeu. BC numéro 3. La pénalité est perte d'essai. Ce sera 3e essai.
A tough one there for the BC Lions offense. Loss of down will force them into a punting situation.
And 56 seconds on the clock.
Yeah. See what Jason Moss and Anthony Calvillo have up their collective sleeve in this one-possession ball game. See what they can do before halftime.
Stephen Flintoff. With the punt, and Chandler Worthy inside the 25 to take it. He's taken down by the long snapper Riley Pickett. Product of the University of Saskatchewan in his 2nd year.
Sir, former Saskatchewan Husky, Saskatoon Hilltop. Now Pickett, primarily the long snapper for BC, but one of 11 defensive linemen that the Lions have dressed for this football game. A quarter of their roster.
That's a crazy stat. And they did. Looking at the depth, that was the thing that stood out to us. Francis Bemmy and Nick Usher added to that too, and 9 regulars on defensive line, or 9 defensive linemen, as you say, and you add one as a long snapper too, but 11 all told put together, and that's a big chunk of your team right there. Specializing in defensive line as well. A gain of 12 there for Tyler Sneed. 40 seconds on the clock until halftime. An 8-point difference in this game. 4-man rush over the middle, but it is shy of Greg Ellingson, who has 1 catch so far, and this is Alouette debut, missing the entire season so far with a knee injury in his first with Montreal.
Yeah, injuries have been such a big part of the story for Montreal's team as a whole through the first half of 2023. The receiving corps, perhaps the unit hardest hit. And Julian Grant, who got off to that scorching start, still on the injured list, as is Reggie White Jr.
Half a minute to go. Inside the 42. Keep it over the middle again. Complete to Cole Speaker. And this could get them close to a field goal try, I would think. See where they spot the ball down near the 45, and quickly the Alouettes moving over the ball after a 23-yard pickup.
Yeah, Cody Fajardo stands in there as he gets absolutely planted on the play, but puts the ball on the money.
Cote's longest field goal this season is 51 yards. Right now, he'd be looking at about a little over 52. Fajardo, as long as he doesn't get sacked, he gets rid of the football and throws it out of bounds. 12 seconds to go until halftime.
Yeah, Cote comes into this game 3 of 3 from beyond the 50-yard line on field goals. And really no wind here tonight. You see Fajardo taking yet another shot.
Speed, be ready. Speed, be ready.
You can run a play to get him a little bit closer for what would look like a 52, 53-yard try for Cote. And a quick pass, and they get some yardage and a little bit more of first down. Not that it's of any consequence right now. It's more of the position on the field after a 12-yard gain. 6 seconds to go, so the field goal unit will come on. And this time, unlike the other scenarios, they'd be glad to take another Cote field goal here when it looked like they may not have a chance for any more points before halftime.
Yeah, absolutely. Big stop by their defense, aided, of course, by that time count violation against Montreal. On second down, nicely put together drive there by Cody Fajardo to march the Alouettes into this scoring opportunity.
Bourassa will have the snap. Zima will put it down, and a more manageable 40 yards coming up here for David Cote. A perfect 3 for 3. A perfect 4 for 4. So all things considered, yeah, they need touchdowns. Haven't had one of those in a while on offense, but 12 points on the board now and a 5-point difference heading to the dressing room for halftime. Alexander Hollins, the biggest offensive story, along with Vernon Adams. They have connected twice. That second touchdown, given the coverage by Montreal, Dwayne, even more remarkable.
Yeah, just terrific concentration by Hollins as he takes the hole on this one. Fabian Ento, Marc-Antoine Dequoy come close, but Hollins comes up with the ball.
And here is Hollins now with Kenzie.
Well, Alexander, to get that drive early in this game, how much confidence did it give this group?
It gave us a lot of confidence because, we want to come out this game and just be explosive, execute, and put up some points. And we put a few points in the first half, and we missed a few plays, but we'll come out in the second half and correct those. We're going to make more big plays.
Well, 2 touchdowns for yourself here tonight, and you were a game-time decision. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling real good. Game-time decision. I just rested the day before, to get some rest. And, I'm ready. As you can see, I'm ready. And we got another half. Like I said, just come out and execute plays, and what we're going to do.
In particular, I mean, the connection with Vernon Adams so far, how much has it been fun to build chemistry with him so far this season?
It's been real fun, man. You know, since he got here last year, we just connected right out back. Like, we knew each other all each other life, you know, and, you know, just connecting and getting together in the offseason. And, you know, that pays off, as you can see. And so we just kept building and building as the season go on. You know, we only going to get better from here. So that's what it is.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Kate, I'll send things back to you.
Kenzie alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and that's what we do too. We build all season long, we connect well, and now we're ready to present this halftime. And the story has been Vernon Adams, and obviously the connections are great, but what VA has done over the last few weeks has been wonderful, but he hasn't seen obviously that winning result. He's got 175, he's got the 2 TDs in the first half, and the great part is too, he's moving really well.
He's got to be frustrating to play against, and think about all the stops he's made around, you know, couple of different universities, 5 stops around the CFL, and you wonder why he gets so many chances, why people are still want to make him the guy. Well, this is why. We figured out when it all clicks for VA, someone's going to get a heck of a quarterback, and now it's Amar Doman and Neil McElroy and Jordan Maximic who have that guy. You said it, Neil. You said, you know, when is VA at his best?
Oh, when he's running the ball.
Running the ball.
Yes.
So he's right. He's such a problem. They're blitzing. They have him stopped. He gets up the middle of the field and then busts out to the right and beats people with his legs, cutting off angles, things that running backs do. And then here you're seeing a lot of times in the first half that, you know, defensively, Montreal and Northrop, they're allowing their corners of freedom to come down and take away those quick hitters. They obviously saw something where they want to take that away.
Yep.
And they're forcing VA to fit the ball in windows, but he is doing it. So the fact that he's got that crazy elusive quickness in the pocket, and then he's putting the ball where he needs to, it's just, whenever it clicked for this guy, it was going to be a problem, and it seems like it's now, and this season is great to see.
Yeah, he's coming into his own, and the most exciting player in this league is VA. Yeah. Is he the best? No, he's not the best. But when he finally figures it out, when he becomes consistent, I think he's going to be the best. You know, he has skills like no other. His running ability, as you alluded to. This play right here, not many people can make that play right there while they're getting hit. But as I alluded to before, he just has to be more consistent. And we talked about he's at his best when he's running the ball. In 2019, when he had his best year, it was because what? He was running the ball. He had 4,000 yards passing, but he also had 82 rushes for 400 yards. And that's when he's at his best. When this man finally figures it out, as you mentioned, Chaz, woo, it's going to be lights out for anyone, any and everyone.
Yeah, he's a problem. And, yeah, I agree. He's exciting as they come in the Canadian Football League. And when he's on, he's electric. And right now, they need some electricity in Montreal's offense because they're knocking on the door. They just can't fit it in. We've heard Rod and Dwayne talk about it. They've had some good opportunities in this first half and positioned themselves well. Here, this to me is a quarterback design with a little flair here and there and empty the backfield. And he's got his back wide open if he wants a touchdown, one-on-one with the linebacker, and he gets lost in behind Haladic, but I don't think that Cody Fajardo ever had any intentions. He pulls this down and he gets short, and they got to kick a Cote field goal, which he's been automatic this way. And then here, this is nice. Watch this move, inside move by Betts. He goes over the top. He's right in Cody Fajardo's lap on 2nd and long. He goes deep, and this is the end result here. The ball's thrown off the mark just a little bit. Austin Mack can't make a tough catch in the end zone. Again, they have to settle for a field goal. And here, this is what it's all about. This is a heated conversation for me, Jason Moss, and Cody Fajardo. They're not mad at each other. They're just trying to get on the same page, not load those conversations. But it shows just how important these guys feel that missing those opportunities is for this football team moving forward, because as explosive as BC is, you can't afford to keep kicking field goals.
Yeah, they got to find a way to score some touchdowns. What's been 6 quarters?
6 quarters.
I mean, last week they scored because they had some pick sixes. Cody Fajardo, stand back, whoever, they got to find a way to get the ball in the end zone, because we see with these BC Lions, they've been able to score some points.
Well, in history, not on their side either. I mean, we saw what happened in the second half against the Bombers, 21 yards of net offense. So they need to change some stuff up in the second half. VA continuing to do what he does best. He's having a tremendous game. Coming up after the break, Paul Lapalese is patiently waiting right now. He's got coach's playbook ready to go. Lions currently up by 5.
Welcome to Montreal. Labor Day weekend is upon us, and we begin with a non-traditional matchup. Tyler Snead will throw and complete it way downfield to Austin Mack. Little trickery on offense early on for the Alouettes to the left, to the end zone. Touchdown. BC Lions and Alexander Hollins. He's got it, and another Lions touchdown.
have plans this Labor Day weekend? You do? Cancel them, because we have a full slate of CFL football games, and it is going to be tremendous. A sold-out Mosaic Stadium, 33,500 fans, Bombers taking on the Rough Riders. And then Monday, panels going on the road. We've got ourselves a doubleheader. It's the Argonauts taking on the Tiger Cats. It's a Labor Day tradition. And it all wraps up with the Elks coming off their massive win, taking on the Calgary Stampeders. It really doesn't get any better than this. As promised, a very special edition of Coach's Playbook for Labor Day weekend with the one and only Paul Lapo. Lapo, what are you doing?
Yards after contact, Montreal receivers.
So is that words after contact?
Words after contact for Kate.
I like it.
Let's talk about a couple of things that the receivers are doing. They're asked to block, they're asked to throw in this game, and they're actually asked to do a lot of running behind the line of scrimmage. I love what's happening here, trying to get William Stanback the ball on the edge. Ellingson and James Tuck, the fullback, blocking down. That gets Lestage out on the outside. And, you know, you get speed and space. That's not a fast guy, but he just uses whatever he's got to get it around. Tyler Snead, watch him go behind the quarterback. Why is he going behind? To get away from the line of scrimmage for the two pullers. Watch, he just flicked his glove off. Why? So he can throw this ball downfield. That was a great play. Now, Tyler Snead now comes down. Watch what happens. When you constrict the defense, you now can get Tyson the ball behind the line of scrimmage for yak yardage. Tyson Philpott does it so well. The Montreal Alouettes lead the Canadian Football League with 46% of their yards are coming after contact. So they don't push the ball downfield. They get these shorter gains, and obviously they're moving the ball well, but the big explosive plays, those are the ones that leads to the touchdowns. We need to see some explosive plays. They got to get a play action to get a deep throw down the field.
But this has been a constant theme now for a few games. Why aren't we seeing that, in your opinion?
Well, I think they're trying to take some shots. They missed one earlier in the game.
True.
You know, and sometimes the BC line's got a really good defensive line, so they got to pick their spots and take their shots. And when they can, they got to make them. But you're not going to score a lot of touchdowns with these behind the line of scrimmage plays.
Great catch on the glove, by the way. I didn't even notice that until now. Coach's Playbook with Paul Lapolice. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more coming up after the break as the Lions still hold the 17-12 lead in this football game. We've got Labor Day stats right after this. Time for stats with Milt Stegall, the statistical beagle.
I love it. Big play, VA. Good first half, 175 yards passing. That leads the first half. And also 37 yards rushing. Cody Fajardo, okay, 11-16 for 154 yards. But you got to put the ball in the end zone, young man. Maybe William Stanback can do it. Maybe Matt. But someone needs to find a way to score a touchdown. If we see Cote on the field kicking another field goal, I'm going to go crazy. So we'll see how they can do in this second half, Kate.
All right, a special halftime in Montreal tonight honoring the Hall of Famers. Josh Burke out there right now. I know John Bowman's going to be heading up on stage. A great night of celebration, a beautiful night for CFL football. We'll get you back to Montreal in just a few minutes. So here's the good news. Cody Fajardo only passed for 137 yards against the Bombers. He's already at 154 tonight, but of course the problem we've been talking about is not finding the end zone for the Montreal Alouettes. Meanwhile, Vernon Adams came into this game riding a 3-game streak of 300 passing yards plus. Look, he's right on pace to obviously beat that. But let's go back to the Montreal Alouettes for just a moment because, as we mentioned, the last 6 quarters, they haven't found the end zone. No, the field goals are great, but you're not going to win football games doing this every single night.
And people on social media say I'm too hard on Cody Fajardo. I don't care what they say. I think, you know what? This man is expected to go out there and win games and score points, and there is no excuses why he shouldn't. I love his receiving core. You talk about Mack. You got Snead playing well. You got Philpott. You got Ellison back. You got Speaker coming in. They got a decent running game. And I know the offensive line is not the best. He's getting hit, but you got to score some points. You got to score some touchdowns. They're down 17-12, and they haven't put the ball in the end zone. Imagine if they could put the ball in the end zone where they would be, not only in this game, but just for this season. So I'm expecting a lot of Cody Fajardo. That's why I'm hard on him. If you're a lot to a lot, it's given, a lot is expected. He's given a lot, and he's not living up to those expectations.
Hey, Milt, I understand your frustration. I don't think there's anybody more frustrated than Cody Fajardo himself. tough because as a quarterback and leading the football team up and down the field, getting into the red zone, getting in scoring territory, it's very frustrating when you have to settle for those threes. And I know he's not doing it on purpose. He's just, one time he had somebody eating on his ribs, the deep ball to Mac, and then the ball's adjusted a little bit, and Mac can't make a tough catch. But, you know, a couple other times it's just play calls, and it's not there. And you got a tip of the cap to the BC Lions. Last 2 weeks they've had to run through the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and now the BC Lions here in the first half, and it hasn't looked good for this offense trying to find the end zone. But at the end of the day, I think there's plenty there. I love watching these quarterbacks. Last week, I got to call that Ottawa-Edmonton game. Yep. Watch Edmonton crack that 22-game losing streak at home. I was really excited to watch Dustin Crum and Trey Ford take the field because of the unknown, right? And their ceilings and their ability to both run the football. Tonight, we have two veteran quarterbacks that both can run the football and light it up in a heartbeat. It's just it hadn't worked out for this offense and Montreal's offense than it has for VA. And I think at any time, they can turn the corner and light it up.
I think VA, or I think Cody, pardon me, has exceeded expectations for me this year. And that's
expectations were low, huh? Lowered expectations.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cody is, I've always said this about Cody. I think Cody Fajardo is a gamer. You see it time and time again. He makes plays with his legs. He's tough. He seems to have great control of whatever offense he's in. He's got some limitations with his arm. We saw it last week. For me, was pretty clear. It's tough for him to make, you know, the outside deep outs are tough for him. He doesn't vertically. He's struggles vertically. Also, even width-wise, getting horizontally across the field, I think he struggles. But I do think that if you understand Cody's limitations and call the game within, I think you have a pretty good quarterback. So I'm not blaming everything on Cody. I think that he's, playing kind of to what his talent level is. And it's an arm thing for me. He doesn't have great arm talent. Everything else that he does, I respect it. I think he's pretty good.
So your expectations being low for Cody coming into the season, and I'm asking, what are your expectations for these Alouettes then? Do you expect them to make the playoffs and win a playoff game or no?
Coming into the season?
Yeah.
My expectations were low for this team, period, because of all the off-season stuff they dealt with. They really couldn't participate in free agency. I thought Cody was kind of the only option they had. It wasn't like they had options for a bunch of other guys. Yeah, that's how I feel.
6-4 at this time, 3-2 at home, 3-2 on the road. It's not bad, and they're playing well. They're 4-1 in their division as well. So, I think they're right at expectation level. To your point about offense and not being vertically challenged. Yeah, we've said that a lot about Cody when he was in Saskatchewan, and Jason Moss knew what he was getting. Right? They went and got this guy, and they've had to be real creative. They've had a wide receiver throw a pass.
That first drive.
They've done some trickery out there, and trying to create and to just establish something offensively, and it just hadn't been working. And again, don't take BC Lions defense, out of the equation.
And we didn't even talk about BC too. The defense looks a lot better in this game than they did against Hamilton, but
second down
should be a fantastic second half. Let's get you back to Montreal and join Rod and Dwayne.
Thank you, Kate, and a beautiful Saturday night here in Montreal with the Alouettes trailing the Lions at the half by 5. Here's Kenzie Lalonde now with the leading receiver in the CFL, the Alouettes' Austin Mack.
All right, Austin, we'll keep things simple. How would you evaluate that first half?
Man, we got to get the ball in the end zone. All field goals, we got to execute in the end zone. Defense is doing a good job. We're moving the ball. We've got to execute in the end zone.
Yeah, do you feel like you can kind of build off towards the end of that first half? You were getting some chances. Is there positive things to take away from that first half?
Absolutely, a lot of positive. We're excited to get back out here, man, and have a good second half. Finish this football game.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Austin Mack with 2 catches for 50 yards even for Jason Moss's offense that, well, you heard him say it, and they were talking about it in the studio. We've talked about it, Dwayne. It's pretty clear. Touchdowns over field goals. Montreal needs that to change.
Yeah, got to finish, and Austin Mack alluded to it. They've got to execute when they get down in that scoring zone.
So the Alouettes will take the ball to start this second half. Now, there is a bit of a breeze gusting at their backs. It would be against them in the fourth quarter, but they are down 5 to start the second half. Tyson Philpott has the ball. Half half number 2 underway as he gets taken down just shy of the Montreal 40. Cody Fajardo, first half numbers, 11 for 16, 154. No picks, but no touchdowns either.
Yeah, and as a stat line, not bad for Cody Fajardo. One of the things not included in there, to me, is the number of hits that Cody Fajardo took in the pocket delivering footballs. But positives in terms of moving the football. But Cody gets categorized with the rest of that Alouettes offense. Got to finish.
Jeshurun Antwi is the ball carrier, faking to him, and it's off to the fullback, James Tuck, who gets written out of bounds, but not before. It appears he has a first down and a gain of 12.
Yeah, pretty basic play action here. Send the fullback looking like a lead blocker. Fake run. Fullback free releases to the flat. Nice job there for an easy first down for Montreal to start off this third quarter.
Right up near midfield. Tyson Philpott on the sweep, takes that inside handoff and breaks free. First contact, he kept going and on the move suddenly. 13 more yards for the Alouettes in the BC zone.
Yeah, Philpott, 6 feet, 195 pounds. Lightning quick as you see him, strong enough, fast enough to run through that contact to pick up first down yardage. And this is kind of bread and butter stuff for Tyson Philpott within this Montreal offense. Just finding ways to get the ball in his hands, and you know he's going to be able to make some people miss.
Faking to William Stanback. And Fajardo has nowhere to run as Quincy Moje, the safety, coming in to take him down. A loss of a yard and a second and long coming up here for Montreal.
Nowhere to run and no option to throw as he goes to his right on this one. Alouettes are outnumbered by BC Lion defenders. Make a pretty easy stop here.
I'd wonder, too, how Montreal would establish a running game. Stanback has just 5 carries for 27 yards. Antwi has 12 yards. Fajardo, their leading rusher, at 28. Passing situation on a 2nd and 11 now. Fajardo stands in and off to the right. Flag goes down just as it's caught by Tyler Sneed, and what would be another first down for the Alouettes with that flag dropping in the BC Lions secondary.
Yeah, slow developing play there for Montreal.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Contact illégal sur un receveur. BC number 1. La pénalité est refusée. Penalties decline. First down.
Second time in this game that the Alouettes could decline an illegal contact penalty because of the catch.
Yeah, keep an eye on the matchup at the top of your screen. Sneed tries to work in then out, isn't able to bounce out as Gary Peters got hands on him, impeding his progress.
Austin Mack wide to the left. Cole Speaker in the slot. Sneed is on the move now and handing off to Jeshurun Antwi. Product from the University of Calgary Dinos, driving it down close to the BC 30.
Really not much room to roam there for Antwi, who had himself a pretty good first half. He's in that rotation with William Stanback in the Alouettes backfield.
And Antwi does stay in this game. We have not seen much of Stanback. Ball approaching the 30. It's a 2nd and 7 now, right at the 31. Fajardo to throw. Deep look into the end zone. Oh my goodness, he caught it. Touchdown, Austin Mack. Brilliant 31-yard grab. And the Alouettes have taken the lead.
Austin Mack in this same side of the field, same end zone, very nearly came up with a diving touchdown catch in the first half. Ball popped free as he landed, but this time, fantastic effort. See here, make sure he was able to stay in bounds, keeps that one off the ground. What a terrific effort from the Canadian Football League's leading receiver.
What a catch by Austin Mack. To catch the ball and also have the wherewithal to touch down inside. And they'll go for 2 now with a 1-point lead as it stands with the 6 points on the board. And that is the first offensive touchdown in nearly 2 games for the Montreal Alouettes. Going back to their victory in Ottawa a couple of weeks ago. Didn't have one last week. And as far as touchdown passes go, because Cody Fajardo had missed a couple of games with injury, first touchdown pass he's thrown in just about a month in Hamilton. And a beautiful touchdown it was for Montreal, trying to make it a 3-point game now in the 2-point try. Pressure's coming. He has time and open, nearly another brilliant catch in behind Austin Mack, but just can't cash in that time. But he does have the 6. And his 4th touchdown catch of the season. Nearly had the 2-pointer as well. Oh, was that close? But the Alouettes lead it by 1.
Just like that, the Montreal Alouettes find themselves in the lead courtesy of yet another highlight reel grab from Austin Mack. TJ Lee with good coverage, good position on the play. But Mack just goes and picks this one off the turf at the very back of the end zone. Nothing more you could ask of the defensive back on this one. Just a tremendous diving effort there.
What did Austin Mack tell Kenzie at halftime? Got to find the end zone.
Yep.
He found the end zone.
Found the end zone, found the ball, found the lead.
And now Terry Williams and the Lions find themselves trailing all of a sudden in this game as Jeshrin Antwi's special teamer comes in to take Williams down up at the 40. So don't forget about Vernon Adams Jr. back in Montreal against his old team. And here's a sample of what he had done in the first half.
Yeah, quick start for Vernon Adams in this one. Both throwing the ball and running with it. Leading his team down the field, contributed about half the yards with his rushing on their first touchdown drive. Great connections between he and Alexander Hollins, who had 2 TD receptions in the opening 30.
Accounting for 212 yards of offense between his passing and his running as well. As Adams gets to work here in the second half and completes a short one there, but yardage after the catch. Taquan Mizell picks up a few more. Just a gain of only 3 yards and a 2nd and long coming up here for BC.
Sean Lemon found himself in the BC Lions backfield on that one as he came on a bit of a loop, but had so much momentum coming around. He overran Adams in the pocket, allowing Adams to get through his reads, check it down to his running back for a short gain.
Keon Hatcher is wide out to the right, along with Lucky Whitehead. Coming in now. Hollins across 2 to the right. Going that way, and Hatcher slipped. It was in behind him and denied a chance to go for the ball as he lost his footing, and it falls incomplete. And the punting unit will come on now for BC.
Yeah, Hatcher trying to redirect, as you mentioned. He was coming outside in on the route. Ball thrown a little too far outside, just unable to torque his body to get back to it.
Stefan Flintoff inside his 30. Chandler Worthy, the lone one back for the Alouettes, to return this punt, standing on his 20. As Flintoff gets it away. And Worthy breaks free to the right for a moment. Picks up a block. Finds some room. Chandler Worthy's going to work. And he is taken down close to midfield. Waiting for Worthy to bust a big one, and he finally does. Alouettes have the lead, and they're close to the Lions zone with the ball again. Well, let's be clear, football's the most important sport in the Alouette dressing room, but it's not the only one. Let's go back to Kenzie.
Yeah, Rod, I am sure between you and Dwayne over your years of playing football, you had coaches that initiated unique bonding activities, and the same can be said for Jason Maas. Maas, along with his son Bear, put in a pickleball court inside the practice facility of the Montreal Alouettes at the Olympic Stadium. And if you guys think the Alouettes are competitive on the field, oh, no. Put them in a 44 by 20-foot pickleball court. It gets heated. Maas actually scurried away from our interview last night to make his time slot. Sounds like Fajardo and Alexander are the team to beat.
I don't know, Kenzie. I want to take Ford on in pickleball. See what happens there. On the slant route to Austin Mack. And he breaks free. Mack, who had a touchdown the last time the Alouettes had the ball, has them on the move again. They are inside the BC 35.
Well, so impressive to see what a leader Austin Mack has become here in his first year for the Montreal Alouettes. We heard him speak at halftime about what they needed to do to get back into this football game. Well, he's stepped up and done it himself in the early going in this third quarter.
Spotted at the 35 for Mack. Another game over 100 yards. Coming in as the CFL's leading receiver. In fact, in terms of receiving yards, 3 of the top 4 are in this game. A couple for the Lions. Fajardo throwing again to the right, completing 2 to Tyler Sneed near the first down marker. That other component, when you talk about Ellingson missing so much time and Reggie White as well, these newcomers to Montreal in the receiving corps have really been kicking in.
Yeah, I mean, they have been so critical in terms of their ability to quickly adapt, not only to the Montreal Alouettes offense in terms of picking that up, but to adapt to the Canadian Football League rules. These are first-year CFLers, Mack and Sneed, having a monstrous impact.
Tyler Sneed, first year out of East Carolina. 18-17 Alouettes pressing to improve their lead. It's a 2nd and 2. And talking about William Stanback and how yards have been coming at a premium for him, and especially tonight as he gets down near, looks like first down yardage for the Alouettes, are very close anyway.
Yeah, we really expected this to be a big year for William Stanback. An Alouettes offense that many anticipated would kind of run through him. It hasn't necessarily unfolded that way thus far, but a lot of football ahead.
Caleb Evans is in 2-0 this season as a starter when Fajardo was hurt, and now back to short yardage as he does indeed get that first down inside the BC 25. Evans only threw 13 passes, filling in for Fajardo here against Saskatchewan. The next week, though, orchestrated a dramatic comeback victory. He ran it in for the winning touchdown himself against the Red Blacks in Ottawa.
Yeah, former Red Black, of course. Caleb Evans staying in the ball game right now.
The flag is down. They're sorting that out. But
on the previous play, too many players on the field for BC. This is a 10-yard penalty. First down. Sur le jeu précédent, BC avait 13 joueurs sur le terrain. Pénalité de 10 verges. Premier essai.
Well, we're only spotting 12.
Called 13.
Yeah.
Advance at 10. Stand back. They fake to him and dumping it off now for Sneed, who gets down near the 10 before he is tripped up. TJ Lee coming in, veteran in the secondary for the Lions. Second down. Gain of 5 yards.
And again, the pressure not off for the Montreal Alouettes. Well, they've gained the lead here in the third quarter of this football game. The edict remains. They've got to score touchdowns when they get into this part of the field. They've got to execute in that offensive green zone.
Woody Barron down on his knee, and Thibaut Debaye, also an injured Lion. He's the one getting attention now, one of their global players. Excuse me, that's Ryder Varga, 48, by the looks of things. Taking a break. Back in Montreal after this. Rod Smith, Dwayne Ford, Kenzie Lalonde back in Montreal for the start of the Labor Day weekend classics. And this one has the Alouettes trying to increase their lead. Third quarter, 2nd and 5 down at the 10. They are 0 for 2 in the red zone. They do have a touchdown on the night and a 30-yard pass. Fajardo is taken down and driven back. Sacked by Sione Tehema back at the 25. And they'll have to go to the field goal unit again as they got in, but 0 for 3 now in the red zone.
Yeah, Tehema got up the field in a hurry on this one. Coming off the edge, bottom of your screen. Dip the shoulder to get under left tackle Nick Callender. Bend that edge and get to the QB.
Fajardo came in the 2nd most sacked quarterback behind Dustin Crum in the Canadian Football League. Cote is in. Trying to make it a 4-point game. And improve to 5 and 5, but he does not. He's still 4 for 5. Excuse me, does get that one. Looked like he had the miss off to the left, but does get the single. He does miss it to the left, and the rouge on the board, and the first miss for David Cote, 1917. Cote's first miss of the night, single point on the board, and a 2-point lead now for the Alouettes. The Lions had led in the first half from the strength of some big plays and the quarterbacking of Vernon Adams Jr. He goes to the ground now to Taquan Mizell, who gets up across the BC 45. Gain of 6 yards for the Lions running back.
And be interesting to see on this possession if the Lions look to kind of slow things down, grind it out a little bit, and keep this Montreal defense on the field for a little while.
Adams marched them down in their 2nd possession of this game, culminating in a touchdown pass. Alexander Hollins, 1 of 2 for him, 4-man rush. On the 2nd and 4, complete first down. Javon Catoy across midfield. With the BC Lions now down a pair of points, a pickup of 11 for Javon Catoy.
Yeah, they're very reliable. Javon Catoy, big target, 6'5", 230 pounds. Came into this game with 33 receptions on just 38 targets.
From the Montreal 53. 4.5 minutes, 3/4 time, and that one is caught. Complete by Catoy, who breaks free from Marc-Antoine Duquois. And talk about great work after the catch for Catoy, who picks up, by the looks of things, yes, indeed, another Lions first down.
And you see Catoy starting off tight to the formation. A free release. See Vernon Adams take a bit of a shot there as he releases that football.
Adams working tempo, handing off. Mizell driving inside the 40 now. Taquan Mizell, first year out of Virginia, embracing the chance to finally get a shot with the Lions after James Butler signed as a free agent with Hamilton in the offseason. Second and 7 now. Off to the right, complete. Justin McInnes has another catch, and down inside the Alouette 25. Another BC first down, impressively moving down the field.
So much of the success to me of the BC Lions this season has to do with the way that they have managed their Canadian talent in recent years, really building that group. Big catches on this drive from Catoy and now McInnes.
Inside the 25, 23-yard line, 3:41 in the clock until 3/4 time. Lions pressing, another completion. This one to Hollins again, who spins around and keeps his feet, but he's inside the 20. Second down and short is coming up.
Hollins, of course, the star of the first half with 2 touchdown receptions from Vernon Adams.
One alone in a 6-yarder, and then one 60-yarder with Kebianento, the field corner for the Alouettes, gambling on it. Saw it go through and into the hands of Hollins for his second touchdown. There's a great catch for a touchdown. BC Lions, Keon Hatcher. 17 yards. It had been a quieter game for Keon Hatcher. We talk about Hollins, but he came in his last 3 games with 371 yards receiving. He just got touchdown catch number 5.
Yeah, and you'll see Hatcher here working across the field. To me, this is a terrific throw by Vernon Adams. Goes to his left, but gets his feet set. The couple of defenders in front of it. Throws an absolute strike to Keon Hatcher.
Another week goes by, another touchdown for number 4, too. Last week he had over 100 yards receiving in that loss to Hamilton. Picked up a touchdown. Call it a dynamic duo, but there aren't just 2, even with Dominic Rhymes out. You look at all those receiving threats the Lions have, headlined right now by Hollins and Hatcher, 3 and 4 in receiving yards in the CFL coming in. Another touchdown, BC. Hatcher.
Well, big one here for Keon Hatcher, making the connection with Vernon Adams. You see him fighting to second level. Therese Beverette there. Beverette's reaction right away. He thought he was going to have help on the front side there on Hatcher. But didn't get it. Hatcher elevates to go get that football. 4 different members of the Lions receiving corps with catches on that touchdown drive, culminating with Hatcher's major.
Well, Hatcher and Hollins, especially since the injury to Dominic Rhymes, who had led with 5 receiving touchdowns on the team. Hollins has passed him, and now Hatcher has matched him, and those 2 account for 1,500 yards receiving this season. Just those 2, Hollins and Hatcher. Flag out on the return by Chandler Worthy, with the Alouettes trailing again. An
episode of The Amazing Race Canada, Tuesday night at 9, 8 Central on CTV.
It was good.
Yeah, it wasn't my best work. You want me to do it again?
You could sell The Amazing Race, but The Amazing Race Canada, like Shark Week, when you sell that.
Shark Week, the thing about Shark Week, Rod, is it comes about but once a year.
Yeah.
Whereas The Amazing Race, you want to...
A show you love,
like, I know you occasionally read promos and stuff, but I'm going to give you some advice. Is something like this, it's a series, you want to build it up to the series finale. You got to leave a little room.
Right.
Right? You don't want to go all
So
in.
once we get to the final episode, we find it, then you're...
all in.
Okay. We're going to revisit this, Mr. Ford. Late third quarter, 1st and 10, Alouette 10. Cody Fajardo facing heat. He gets rid of it. Throws it out of bounds. And also gets knocked down on that, but close to giving up a safety with the heat coming. Manny Rugamba, the strong side linebacker, coming in.
Yeah, see him coming from the left side of your screen. Just runs wide around the offensive lineman to get to the quarterback.
Fajardo in the first half was hurried 11 times, hit 9 times, sacked 3 times. Been sacked since then. Lions have been getting a lot of pressure on him tonight. With a 2nd and 10 now at the Montreal 10. Momentum shifting again. Alouettes had a good start to the half. A flag is out with a snap of the football. Bearing down again and taking him down. Like David Menard, the ex-Alouette. Most of his career with BC. Had 1 here in Montreal a couple of years ago when he had 8 sacks.
Offside, hors-jeu, BC, number 33, numéro 33. 5 verges, 5-yard penalty, 5 verges de pénalité. On reprend le deuxième, 2nd down repeated.
But erase that play for Menard because Rugamba is called on the offside.
Little frustration there for Lions defensive coordinator Ryan Phillips.
Who had a tremendous career, a lot of it with BC, but had some time playing for the Alouettes as well. Ryan Phillips did. Montreal 15 and a 1st and 5, dumping it off to the fullback, James Tuck. And diving after Sales got him by the foot, but it's enough for a Montreal first down.
Yeah, great effort there from the former York Lion, James Tuck. Linebacker and rush end in University has made a nice transition to the fullback position here in the Canadian Football League. We've seen him targeted as a receiver a couple of times here tonight. Protects the football going into contact, runs through it, great reach at the end.
Faking the handoff, taking off is Cody Fajardo, who drives his way through with Woody Barron taking him down, but does get another good pickup. Fajardo not afraid to carry the football. Seen that many times.
Yeah, here you go. Pump fake, get the defender up in the air.
As we get down to three-quarter time. BC led at the half. BC leads now. In between, the Alouettes had driven down and finally scored a touchdown. Austin Mack got it. Two-point convert failed. They've added a point and a missed field goal. They had the lead, but the Lions, that latest touchdown, getting it back. But Austin Mack, who's had another excellent game, and second half for that matter, picking up a first down in the final play of the third quarter. A pickup of 10 more yards for Fajardo and the Alouettes. One-score game. Alouettes down. And this early September Saturday night in Montreal, the catch by Mack. Nice move there as well. Labor Day weekend. CFL on TSN. The stats through three quarters here in Montreal. Cody Fajardo had promised that the offense would be better than a dismal showing last week in Winnipeg, and he has been right. They still do trail, but you look at the Lions and their big play capability at their receivers, even without the guy who had been their number one in Dominic Rhymes. That duo of Hollins and Hatcher, well, lately we see in the third quarter with Hatcher getting in on the act with one of their touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of great additions for the BC Lions over the last couple of years. You consider 2 years ago in that receiving core, we were always talking about the combination of Lucky Whitehead and Brian Burnham. Burnham, of course, having retired. Whitehead's been quiet tonight, but there is no shortage of fireworks from the BC Lions receiving core.
Vernon Adams Jr. throwing 3 touchdown passes. 2 of them to Hollins and the other one in the third quarter to Keon Hatcher as we begin the fourth quarter now on a 1st and 10 at the Alouette 41 after the Austin Mack catch. And here, busting loose, William Stanback. Could he be gone? 20-10, touchdown Montreal. 69 yards and the first touchdown of the season for William Stanback.
Six feet, 220 pounds, and he just outran everyone on the field. Watch the way this opens up because of the sweep action coming left to right on your screen in behind Stanback. This is going to create some space at the line of scrimmage because the Lions are flowing, thinking this play is going outside. Stanback cuts it back, and he is off to the races.
6 plays, 100 yards, and they start the fourth quarter off right, finding the end zone again for the second time in this game after their first 4 scores were all field goals. William Stanback, who all of a sudden is approaching his second 100-yard game this season. 2-point try, no. Threw it into the end zone for Mack and couldn't hang on to that one, so it is back to being a 1-point lead for the Montreal Alouettes. And yet hard to believe, as great as William Stanback has been, that that's the first touchdown he has scored this season.
First touchdown of the season, his longest run of the season. And at a key moment for these Montreal Alouettes, propelling his team back into a 1-point lead. And there's his family in attendance.
Some tears of joy, no doubt, for everything that man has been through with injury and his tryout with the Raiders before losing his parents. And back to the Alouettes. He had been the CFL's leading rusher. And things had stalled a bit with an injury last year on opening night in the Canadian Football League, where he missed a big chunk, 4 months of the season last year. And expectations high for the ground game for the Alouettes. And not bad, but not the standard that we have seen from 31. That run certainly was. Alouettes leading again now, 25-24. Terry Williams picking it up off the turf and gets it up just across the 30. So over to you, Vernon Adams Jr. now, and the BC Lions, who are trailing this one again.
The Lions, a team certainly capable of answering with the big play. We'll see what tack they opt for here. Again, whether it's grinded out mode a little bit here in the fourth quarter.
Their last drive. Adams 5 for 5. 61 yards and a touchdown to Keon Hatcher. Back and forth they go. Adams 239, Fajardo 271 in the passing department. First and 10 from the BC 30. Right side now, Mizell. Picks up about 3.
A big first down stop there for the Montreal Alouettes defense to force this second and long. An opportunity for the likes of Sean Lemon to pin their ears back and get after it.
You have to think this means a little bit more to Vernon Adams Jr. than last year, 5 days after being traded, coming back to Montreal. Hardly played. And that one is broken up. Coming in, Deontay Evans. Dwayne had been talking about him, the veteran in the secondary who leads him with interceptions, even though he's missed a good chunk of the season. He went on the 6 after getting hurt back in week 3.
Yeah, and good to get some experience on the back end with the return of Evans. Their most senior DB, particularly again with Wesley Sutton now going to the injured list.
Flint off the punt. Worthy on the return. Catches it in the air. 35. Breaking another one here as he gets up near midfield across the 50. Worthy. Some better punt returns here in the second half for the Alouettes, who lead the way. A touchdown has given them a 1-point lead. At the half, the Alouettes honoring former significant players in the Montreal football scene that are going to get induction into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, including Larry Smith, former president of the club and commissioner of the league, Josh Burke, two-time Grey Cup champion, Jacques Dussault, as both a terrific role model as a Quebec coach and broadcaster, and then the legend himself, now with the BC Lions as a coach, John Bowman, one of the greatest in the history of the franchise. Back to Kenzie.
Yeah, when you asked John Bowman about his numbers, he said it's not so much 134 sacks for him that stand out. It is the 230 games played. He said for his guys to rely on him for 230 games, well, that means everything. And his most memorable moment here at Percival Molson Stadium is when he earned his 100th sack back on November 8th of 2015. And as we look at the next generation of pass rushers, well, Sean Lemon is nearing the century mark. Bowman calls Lemon a crafty veteran. He sees plays before they happen. And now Bowman gets to work with Matthew Betts, who's leading the league with 12 sacks on the season, calling him someone who continues to use his speed, adjusting his angles, and the way in which he's forcing the offensive lineman's eyesight to change has really led to his success.
Here's Fajardo. He throws it for Jesper Antwi, who seems surprised by that as it bounces off him 2nd and 10. But John Bowman would be happy to see what his new D-line is doing against his old club.
Yeah, you're going to see on cue, as Kenzie was talking about, John Bowman, his two defensive ends, his proteges, Tehema flushing Cody Fajardo, Matthew Betts getting there for the hit. You know, and maybe trying to get John Bowman's old number 7 jersey back.
Mixed emotions, I'm sure, for Bowman coming back to Montreal, which was home for so many years, and embraced by the community. And now the BC Lions team trying to get a win here in Montreal. Fajardo. And that one in tight coverage there. Gary Peters was there on Austin Mack. It falls incomplete, and a 3rd down is coming up.
Yeah, Gary Peters, such a monster on the corner for the BC Lions. One of the best in the Canadian Football League, no question. He was coached in high school by former NFL All-Pro, New York Giant, Terry Kennard. There you see, courtesy of Pro Football Focus. The numbers, Gary Peters, toughest DB against whom to complete a pass in the Canadian Football League.
First 2 and out for the Alouettes, and some heat was coming there in the punt by Joseph Zima. And it is caught at the 15 by Terry Williams. BC got close coming in on the punter. Lion football after a 43-yarder. Vernon Adams Jr., 17 for 27, 239, 3 touchdowns. Not for Austin Mack that time, but his Alouettes have the 1-point lead.
One of my first starts in Labor Day was, pretty memorable, having a comeback victory and all that. Having Sean Fleming kick a game-winning field goal, on a Labor Day Monday in Calgary was a pretty big memory of mine in my career as a player. So that was pretty awesome.
Memories of the Labor Day rivalries. Jason Moss knows them all as well. Of course, starting with Edmonton against Calgary and Saskatchewan's old offensive coordinator against Winnipeg 3 years before this. And he even had time with Hamilton and the Argos as an OC, or quarterbacks coach, I should say. So he knows those ones, and what a weekend we have coming up with the Riders Bombers tomorrow and then the doubleheader on Monday. Labor Day, Monday. Vernon Adams, that throw is high. So second down coming up. The BC Lions have had their big plays, and Adams has been able to move this offense, but they do find themselves trailing by a point right now. 11:37 to go in the fourth quarter here at Molson Stadium.
Yeah, you go back to those statistics after 3 quarters. This is a game where Montreal is dominated in terms of time of possession, but as you said, BC able to make some big plays that they haven't necessarily been in ball control mode much over the course of this ball game.
So on the second down, it is Adams inside his 15, pump fake, deeper look, and a jump ball, and coming down, Lucky Whitehead near the 45 of the Alouettes. And once again, Adams connects to one of his many talented receivers on a big play.
Yeah, Lucky Whitehead's just running down the rail on that left sideline. Vernon Adams, you see the time he's got in that pocket, stands in there, waits for Whitehead to come into an open window, drops the ball in. 7 goes and gets it. Jump ball, grabs it right in front of the defender.
Raheem Wilson, the defender there, and pressure's coming, and he gets it away to Keon Hatcher, who gets back to the 42. But let's have another look at this catch by Lucky Whitehead.
Yeah, good adjustment to the ball for Whitehead as it's thrown inside a little bit. You see him work in. Wilson thinks he's making his way over there for an interception. Number 7 in black just flashes in front of him to make the grab.
Not the first time that's happened to a member of the Alouette secondary, too. Happened to Kabion Ento. A different kind of play, but it led to a touchdown. The second one for Alexander Hollins back in the first half. That gain taking them all the way up to the 42 in a 2nd and 6 now. And they get enough for another first down. Javon Catoy on the receiving end. So back to work goes Adams and the Lions. Pickup of 10 yards and a first down.
Yeah, Javon Catoy. You see Raheem Wilson slow to get up there, but Catoy, another great CJFL product, working out of the slot here. Spent some time with the Calgary Colts before moving west to play in BC. Finishing his career with the Langley Rams, the Lions snatching him from there. And I discussed a little bit last week with Marshall Ferguson my belief that junior players, CJFL players, should be part of the Canadian draft in the CFL, and that, when you look at the impact of some of the players that have come out of the CJFL into the CFL, the junior players who are making the CFL essentially these are guys who would have been first-round picks. When you talk about guys like Logan Ferland in Saskatchewan, obviously Andrew Harris.
Yeah, I was going to say Harris' name come to mind. Yeah.
Sean White, another guy who came out of junior football. Dan Clark had a number of years in Saskatchewan.
Raheem Wilson pointing him out earlier on the big play by Whitehead, and is injured on this play. And it looks, and a non-contact injury. You see him just go down on his own and calling for help. Wilson had just missed a lot of time heading into this season. There's a deep look into the end zone for Whitehead. Touchdown Lions. Whitehead again, 33 yards and 6 for 7.
Kind of an awkward landing, but I'm sure with the 6 points on the board, Lucky Whitehead will get over it. He's got to go get this one. Look for a second like he bobbled this, and not. Yeah, that's not a catch.
No. You see it touch the field, and fans are reacting, seeing the replay. So waited, got the signal, but no, this will likely be coming back, I would think.
Yeah, I wondered initially. It looked like it had been bobbled.
Upon review by the command center, the play is overturned to an incomplete pass. Après révision par le centre de commande, le jeu est déclaré une passe incomplète. Ce sera
See if we get an even better look at it from this angle, where you can clearly see the ball on the ground. Trapped. Tremendous effort, but no cigar.
So instead, back at the Alouette 33 and a 2nd and 10 here for BC. Still down a point. 9.5 minutes on the clock. Jason Moss's team, after a loss in Winnipeg last week, trying to get back into the win column. They're at 6-4. The Lions are at 7-4. 2 second-place teams meet tonight to start off the Labor Day weekend festivities. Adams breaks free, takes off, and down inside the 25. The ball comes out, and they say he is down.
I think he was
marked down, and still Lions football.
See if the spot gives him the first down or if he's just close to it. Here you see him on his way down. He is down prior to the ball coming free.
Where they spot it for a gain of 9, about a yard shy. Adams has 5 carries for 46 yards at a big first half, contributing with his legs. They're down a point. Adams wanted to go for it on a 3rd and 1, and instead Sean White will come on. Bear in mind, early in the game against Hamilton last week, they went for it at the Ticat 20, and they didn't get it. They turned it over on downs. Rick Campbell not taking a chance here. Veteran kicker Sean White, money in the bank, chips that one through, and the Lions have the lead by 2 points. It would appear Vernon Adams thought, we can get this and keep driving. A little frustrated, but his team moves in front. Which leads us to our Coors Light moment of chill before the game, and a special return for Vernon Adams Jr., seeing some old friends back in Montreal where he was once their star quarterback. And this, during the game, he's made some big plays. See that one to Alexander Hollins for his 2nd touchdown. And Keon Hatcher, 3rd quarter. And he wasn't as chill just a moment ago. He's now talking things over on the sideline. Looked like he wanted to go for it on the 3rd down and short. Instead, they kicked the field goal. But back comes Montreal now. Down by 2. Williams stand back. his biggest run of the season. A little earlier in this game when he busted off a 69-yard run for his first touchdown of the season. Shorter yardage there, of course, and the second down coming up. Call it for.
They stand back recognizing that Montreal is very much a quarterback sneak team in short yardage situations, and if he was going to get on the board with a touchdown, he was going to have to take it a long way and explode it to the house on that one.
12 career games with 100-plus. He has that tonight, second time this season. The last time a few weeks ago in Hamilton. The Stanbaugh having a game, largely because of one big carry. Second down now, Alouette 45. Some heat is coming. Fajardo, he can't get rid of it. He takes off. He gets it up around the 45. They're saying the ball is out. Fajardo was taken down.
Well, Matthew Betts would not be denied on that play. Just a great example of his motors. He was the guy who tracked down.
And they hadn't signaled, but you see the ball coming out, and the unit's changing now. Didn't see a signal that the turnover was made.
Yeah, here Fajardo's up. Yeah.
No, now they looked like they were changing up, and now no, offense still on. But
yeah, I think the right knee touchdown before the ball came out.
Okay, so they are punting the ball away, a 3rd and 5 at the Alouette 45. Correct snap. Trying to catch the Lions now, and in special teams, and they do. Joshua Antwi inside the 30. Big first down, Alouettes in business in the Lions territory, setting up for a punt by Joseph Zima, and instead it went to the up back Antwi. Byron Archambault, special teams coach, is just loving the sight of this.
It's going to go to Antwi, the back on the right, but watch the great block here by Alexandre Gagné, the other up back, personal protector on their punt team. He manages to hook his man on the, gets his hat to the outside, turns him in. Fantastic block that allows Antwi to get around the corner and take this one up the sideline. Nice execution there for the Montreal Alouettes. Well-timed call from their special teams coordinator, Byron Archambault.
And in position now to retake the lead, down by 2 at the 22 of BC. Fajardo looks into the end zone, wants Mack, coverage there, and it's picked off by the Lions. Big turnover after that big special teams play. And it ends up in the hands of the safety, Quincy Moje, as the coverage was good on Austin Mack as Fajardo tried the end zone.
Austin Mack is going to line up as the inside slot to the field on this one, working to the corner. Watch Moje coming over the top to help out. Ball hangs up a little bit, not far enough to the outside, which allows Moje to get there and take it away.
First turnover of this game tonight. Here we are in the 4th quarter, and a big turnover it is for the BC Lions, who are at risk of seeing their 2-point lead disappear. An interception thrown by Cody Fajardo in the Lions end zone. Quincy Moje had it. And the ball comes out to the BC 30. 27-25 Lions. 5:23 to go here in the 4th quarter. Adams, hands off, left side. And busting it up is Mizell up to the BC 40.
Yeah, good cut back there from Mizell after he gets the defense flowing hard to their right, then taking it back underneath.
Pickup of 9, Mizell. On the 2nd and 1. They plow through and have enough to move the sticks.
And you look back at that Quincy Moje interception, a great example of whether you want to call it complementary football or one unit picking up another after the special teams group, that punt return team, gave up a big play on the fake to keep the drive alive, put the Alouettes into BC Lions territory. The defense comes up large to get them off the hook.
Up to the BC 44 now after that Vernon Adams carry. And directing his receivers to the right. 4 of them out there. And handing off Mizell left side. Good defensive work there. Beverett coming in and getting a lot of help too after he cuts back. Nothing doing for Mizell there. Jamal Davis, number 9.
Well, there's a late flag on this one. It's going to be interesting to see which way it goes, as there's a collision between, I believe, Tyrese Beverett and one of the
After the
BC
play, major foul, unnecessary roughness, misconduct foul for 15 yards, Montreal 26. Automatic first down. Après le jeu, rudesse inutile, Montréal numéro 26, pénalité d'inconduite de 15 verges, premier essai.
Watch very right side of your screen. Looked initially from our vantage point like sort of an incidental collision, but you can see the lowering of the head, bit of a headbutt coming right here. So official well positioned to detect that one.
Penalty moves the ball across midfield at the Alouette 54. Lions leading by 2. 3.5 minutes to go. Keon Hatcher had a touchdown earlier in this second half. Has a first down there inside the Montreal 45.
Hatcher, just a quick turnout, gets his head around. No need to continue it towards the sideline as he's in open space. Easy find for his quarterback, Vernon Adams. A first down.
Timeout, temps d'arrêt, Montréal.
The left tackle, Jarrell Broxton, is getting some attention down the field, and a timeout called by the Alouettes. CFL OK Tire Labor Day weekend will continue tomorrow. A showdown between the Blue Bombers and the Rough Riders, an annual event, and what an event it is at Mosaic. You can join us at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. That is only on TSN, of course. That was a close one, just a 2-point victory by Winnipeg at Mosaic and Labor Day last year. What a rivalry that is. Broxton slow to get up and getting an escort off, and a 1st and 10 for the Lions.
Yeah, that'll bring David Neville into the game. That left tackle, Brantford, Ontario product, played his college football. University of Nebraska.
So a change up front for the Lions. He's taken down. Little pump fake, and Armando Sewell comes in and puts him down back at midfield. Second sack of the season for Sewell.
Now, Armando Sewell still getting it done from his D tackle spot. So Bull Rush fights his way through. Adams suggesting that it was a high hit, but no call on the play.
70th career sack for Armando Sewell. Many of those in Edmonton, 10 of them in Montreal, celebrating in style. We got a close finish coming up here in Montreal. 3 minutes to go. Going the other way. Here's the review by the command center.
After review by the command center, there was roughing the passer on Montreal number 90, 15-yard penalty. First down, BC.
Well, what a swing that is. For Sewell and the Montreal Alouettes. You saw Jason Moss just shaking his head, obviously not agreeing with it, but that is the rule. It's down inside the 30 now. And a 2-point gain, 3 minutes on the clock. And if the Lions can find the end zone, they can just about put this thing away.
Yeah, it's a tough play because the only way Sewell can avoid that type of contact is if he lowers his head and spears Adams, quite frankly, with the crown of his helmet in the quarterback's chest.
With the boos coming down from the Alouette faithful here at McGill. On the ground and breaking free is Taquan Mizell. And just got it down what looks like another first down. A pickup of 11 yards. Yes, indeed, the sticks do move for the Lions.
And Mizell looks like he's tripped up just getting through the line of scrimmage, but manages to pull out a couple more steps and a lunge to move the sticks.
Down to the 18. The clock, the enemy of the Alouettes as well. 2:25 and counting. BC does need to come away with something here. Handing off. They stay with Mizell, who gets it down to the 10. And a pickup of 8 more yards.
Yeah, nice patience there from Mizell with a little hesitation move to allow the block to clear. And then turn it back up to watch him take the handoff. Jam on the brakes for just a split second. Pause, there's the block, then go.
Get into the end zone. A single point after would make it a 2-score game. With barely 2 minutes to go. 2nd and 2. BC. Back to Mizell. Needed 2.
Lions now with under 2 minutes and that 2-point lead deep in Montreal territory, leaning heavily on that ground game.
Got what they needed and a 1st and goal coming up at the Montreal 7 now. Mizell got 3 more. The toss, Mizell, 5, touchdown. Taquan Mizell. And that is his first rushing touchdown in his CFL career. Had 2 receiving, but that's a big one too, because it just could give the Lions the breathing room they need to put this game away with 1.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, and great execution on this kind of variation on the option play. The defender that they're trying to isolate here, the DN, Sean Lemon. Do I take the quarterback? Do I take the running back, who's the pitch man? Lemon is caught in no man's land as he's kind of drawn in to the quarterback. He doesn't want to give him too much room. Well, that creates space for Mizell on the outside. Adams tosses it, and away they go.
9 plays, 80 yards in 4 minutes, and aided by a big penalty that denied the sack by Sewell and turned into be 15 yards up for the Lions. Taquan Mizell. Touchdown on the ground. They have 3 through the air, and they lead it now with the point after by 9.
Yeah, just a quick pause there from Vernon Adams as he draws the defensive end upfield, then flips it to his running back, who's got room to run on the outside.
And let this be said about red zone play. Even though the Alouettes did get a couple of touchdowns tonight in the red zone inside the 20, BC 3 for 3, 3 touchdowns. The Alouettes a field goal, and a missed field goal when they're inside the 20. big difference in this game. 2-score game, 9 points, 1:28 on the clock.
Yeah, and you just explained exactly where that 9-point difference came from. Settling for field goals or singles instead of TDs.
Flintoff to kick it off. Worthy to take it at the 10. Under a minute and a half to play here in Montreal. As Worthy gets it up across the 40, but Cody Fajardo does not have much time right now, needing a couple of scores after a 29-yard kick return.
Well, Alouettes have had some success throwing the ball down the field, pushing it a little bit. They're going to need to do that here against a BC defense that obviously is going to be in something of a prevent mode. BC trying to keep everything in front of them.
So here we go, 1:19 on the clock. Alouettes need to get down quickly for a score. Looking off to the left and just over the defender, Mike Jones, an ex-Alouette, intended for Greg Ellingson, who had a catch in the first half, but that falls incomplete.
Yeah, long throw out to that wide side of the field. Fortunate to get this one past the defender and avoid the turnover. It just impacted enough to make it difficult for Ellingson to reel it in.
Jones getting the start with the injury to Jalen Edwards-Cooper last week against Hamilton. Coming across, Austin Mack, and plenty after the catch as Sales pushes him out of bounds inside the BC 50, 107.
Yeah, terrific deception move here by Mack. Fakes outside, just cuts it up. Sticks his foot in the dirt.
So my question is, in this scenario, 107 on the clock, as it keeps ticking, you need a touchdown and a field goal.
Yeah, essentially you're in a situation.
Would you take the field goal and then try for the short kick and then try for the touchdown, depending on where the clock is?
Yeah, depending where the clock is.
That
but
is
if I
still a
got in a
minute,
situation, yeah, if I get forced to third down, yes.
Down to 53 as they obviously hurrying up here.
And for Montreal, a matter of running their base offense, just going to no huddle mode.
Just a three-man rush. There's a look to the end zone. Is it picked? Yes, it is. TJ Lee back for it. Kept the feet in bounds, and that'll do it. 42 seconds on the clock. Lions football.
TJ Lee, the veteran halfback, goes and gets this overthrow by Cody Fajardo. Easily hauling that one in the back of the end zone. Adjustment to the football over the shoulder grab.
The veteran TJ Lee in his 9th year at Eastern Washington, second interception on the season, and that one essentially puts this game to bed with 42 seconds on the clock. 2 turnovers, 2 balls thrown into the end zone by Cody Fajardo, intercepted. And that's part of the story here as well. And what had been a close game much of the way, the Lions just pulling ahead in their last possession. Vernon Adams Jr. handing off Taquan Mizell with a big series, the previous one, on that touchdown drive with some big carries. Vernon Adams Jr. comes back to face his old team back in his old home. Not a bad performance, Dwayne.
Yeah, VA got things going for the BC Lions. Opening drive, using his arm, using his legs. Couple first half touchdown passes to Alexander Hollins. Finds Keon Hatcher for a third TD pass of the night in the second half. Little help from his defense here as they look to close things out. A couple of interceptions in the fourth from Moget and Lee. And in his first start back in Montreal since being dealt by the Alouettes to BC, Vernon Adams Jr. is going to come up with the win.
Fourth straight 300-plus yard passing game as they celebrate. And that's his 7th of the season, which leads the way in the Canadian Football League. He also had led coming in with 36 completions of 20-plus yards, which led the way in the CFL. Big play VA. That was the name they had for him here in Montreal a few years ago.
Living up to it.
Adams in. Carries it to the right, and it's tossed down. So 4 seconds to go. And a first down. Got a new lease in his career back in 2019 when Antonio Pipkin started the season, got hurt in Edmonton. Adams took over, and they saw enough. The young coach, Kahari Jones, first year as head coach of that team, gave the #1 job to Vernon Adams. Had a great year in 19, ultimately traded away to BC, but embracing his chance here with Rick Campbell's Lions as you see the updated standings at 8-4 for the BC Lions, 2 points behind the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Vernon Adams Jr. has won another game in Montreal, but this time it's as a member of the BC Lions. The Alouettes, they came back. They made it interesting. They took the lead a couple of times. But ultimately, it was Adams. 3 touchdown passes. Got another one on the ground from Mizell to put it away. And a big win, ending a 2-game losing streak for the BC Lions as the Alouettes fall to a record of 6-5. Labor Day weekend is just getting started. From Mosaic tomorrow, and don't forget the doubleheader on Monday. Thanks for watching the CFL on TSN. SportsCenter is next.
Hello, Canada. Happy Labor Day weekend. Welcome inside SportsCenter alongside Tessa Bonham. I'm Glenn Sheeler. Wow, that's a big win for the BC Lions. They had lost 3 of 4 coming in, including a shocking loss last weekend at home against Hamilton. So a nice bounce back. And boy, back and forth game, but 1 turnover in that fourth quarter. The difference really in this one.
And what a way to kick off Labor Day weekend, I got to say. I mean, this was back and forth. I felt like every time you and I were looking up at the TV, we're going, oh my goodness, what a catch or what a play. Yeah. They delivered, that is for sure. As for the Alouettes, though, they were looking for some revenge from Week 5. Vernon Adams Jr. making his first start in Montreal since being traded to BC last year after 7 seasons with the Owls. Here's former teammate William Stanback pregame on Adams Jr. returning to Montreal.
He gonna give it his all, you know. He gonna come out here, he gonna be on fire, and you know, I don't expect nothing short of him. All we gotta do is just try to contain him and just do what we gotta do to put ourselves in a position to win.
Late second, BC up 10-6. Adams Jr. under pressure. He hoists one up. Threads the needle between 2 defenders to Alexander Hollins. What a grab. Adams Jr. and Hollins connect for their second touchdown of the half. 62 yards on the play. Hollins was actually a game-time decision prior to kickoff. That's looking like a good decision. BC added to their lead right there. But Montreal not going away. Early third quarter. Now 17-12 BC. Cody Fajardo looking deep. Austin Mack tracking. What? Makes an unbelievable diving grab. Look at this.
So good.
31-yard strike. It's Mack's 4th touchdown of the season. The Owls take the lead, and they kept it going early in the 4th.
The fourth quarter now on a 1st and 10 at the Alouette 41 after the Austin Mack catch. And here, busting loose, William Stanback. Could he be gone? 20, 10, touchdown Montreal.
69 yards to the house. His longest run of the season results in his first touchdown of the season. His family in attendance, loving every minute of it. But after the Lions retook the lead with the field goal, Fajardo looking for the end zone. And he's picked off. It's the first turnover of the game for either side, and it proved to be a costly one as BC walks away with the win, 34-25 the final. Now, even though the Lions and Owls aren't the biggest rivals, this is the 14th time they squared off on Labor Day weekend. The Lions now with an 8-6 edge. Cody Fajardo's lost 3 of 4 times when playing on Labor Day weekend, so clearly he'd prefer the time away. Nonetheless, Vernon Adams Jr. improves to a career 28-17 as a starter in the CFL. With more, let's get to Kate Burness.
Alongside David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. And coming into this game, Vernon Adams had thrown 3 straight games of over 300 yards, added his 4th in this one tonight, 306. But more importantly, as we said before the game, he cares about the wins. He cares about the BC Lions getting back into the win column. They snapped their 2-game slide, and a really nice performance in Montreal tonight, Milts.
Yeah, and he seems like he's really getting comfortable in his role, what the BC Lions want him to do, and we saw that showcased in this game. Of course, throwing the ball, but also running the ball. We always say Vernon Adams is at his best when he's mobile, when he's using his legs. It's putting so much pressure on the defense, and this game was his best game running the ball, 52 yards, but also these throws. These are impressive. And sometimes, yes, you're not going to see these throws completed because you're sacrificing for your team, but that is what Vernon Adams is willing to do. You talked about Kate. He's thrown over 300 yards in 4 straight games, and in those first 3 games, he threw an interception, but that wasn't the case this game. It seems like he's really getting comfortable. He's understanding that this team need him to be an MOP position for them to be successful. More important than just him playing well, the fact that they got to win and they're keeping pace with those Winnipeg Blue Bombers, putting them in a position to possibly catch them when they play later on in the season.
Yeah, Milt, that's a nice win for BC coming across the country. I think introducing us to a new Labor Day Classic rivalry. I like that matchup. 2 teams that were trying to claw back into being elite in the Canadian Football League. And VA didn't look like he had a problem with his knee at all. He was out there flying around, like you said, Milt, and I think all quarterbacks that have that ability should use it, and he did tonight. I think their explosiveness was the difference in this football game. Cody Fajardo had to be very methodical. He had one big explosive play by Standback, a 69-yard run in the second half. But Cody threw a couple picks trying to force the issue late in the football game, and that really, I think, stymied any type of comeback and magic. This was a really beautiful throw. Well, he actually took one in the ribs there to Mack. That was in the first half. And he was he pushed the issue, and right here it cost him. Mauser went and picked that. It was a nice play by the free safety. But I can tell you that, that has been an issue for the Montreal Alouettes at home. And Cody pushing the ball deep. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. It's just you live by the sword and die by it as well.
It's funny. This game, both teams, it was a measuring stick for both teams. Difficult to come across to all the way out to Montreal and win a game. BC did that, and for Montreal, kind of find out, who are we? Because BC's considered elite. Where's Montreal? Well, I think they showed that they can compete. And today, Jason Moss, I thought, called a great game. I thought, for their roster, what they're dealing with, I thought they went out there today and he threw everything at BC early. He jumped out to early lead, and then there were some plays where in the second half of the fourth quarter specifically, this was a great call too. I mean, a gutsy call in a situation, 6 minutes left in the game, and right there, they're gonna go down and ultimately, take the lead in this game. But there's a penalty, a headbutt right there on Montreal that ended up extending a drive. They were ahead, but to get the ball back, extend the drive, and they get an unnecessary roughness penalty that gives BC the ball back. And look at that, Vernon does what he's been doing, all game long. But I do feel like when you look at this Montreal team and they had a chance to win this game, no reward for losing. But I do think that when they look at this game, they had a chance to win, but on the road for BC to get it done, good on them.
We talked about how important this stretch was, though, for the Montreal Alouettes. I mean, they got the Argonauts coming up next. And for the BC Lions, they're rolling into the bye with this victory. Let's just hope that the Rough Riders and the Blue Bombers, just as good of a game as this one as we send it back to SportsCenter.
Let's go back to Montreal. Here's Alexander Hollins standing by with Kenzie.
Well, Alexander, this was a battle through and through. How would you evaluate this win here tonight?
Man, this game had a lot of ups and downs, man, but we fought it out, and we stayed together, and we came out on top, and, that's all that matters. No matter how we win, we win by 1, 2, 3 points, ugly win. The win is a win, so that's what we wanted. That's what we came here for, and we got that.
You talked about the chemistry with Vernon Adams. I mean, for him to get this win tonight, to throw the bombs he was throwing tonight, what do you think it means to him?
It probably mean a lot to him, man. I'm pretty sure it does mean a lot to him. Coming back to Montreal and getting the win, all away games are hard in this league to get a win. So whenever you can go on the road and get a win, that's big time, man. He played a hell of a game, like he always do. So heads out to him,
Will you continue to produce 2 more touchdowns for yourself here tonight? What's allowing you to find this rhythm?
Honestly, I just be going to get the ball, man. Whatever the OC call, I be like, I bet. I just go get it. That's straight up. That's it.
Get the job done.
Get the job done.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here's a look at the schedule and the odds for the rest of Week 13, courtesy of FanDuel. So the Lions move within 2 points of the Bombers in the West, but the Bombers are big road favorites in Saskatchewan tomorrow as they look for their 6th straight win. Then it's a doubleheader on Holiday Monday, starting with the Argos and Ticats, followed by the Battle of Alberta. Calgary and Edmonton separated by just 2 points at the bottom of the West.
All righty, new on SC with Kenzie is Vernon Adams Jr.
Well, we have a special guest with us here, Jaden. Let's get your thoughts here on Daddy's performance. How did you think he did?
Did I do good? Yeah.
I think the smile says it all.
Yeah.
But for you tonight, I mean, your first start back here in Montreal since the trade, can you put this win here into words?
Oh, man, it's an amazing feeling, man. I just want to give all the glory to God, just keeping me healthy throughout the year, giving this fight to this team, man. It's an amazing feeling. So I'm just so glad to get this win here in Montreal.
Well, the conversation this week does bring the energy back into the room. Do you feel you executed that here tonight?
Yes, I feel like we had a way better energy than we did last week at home. We did what we wanted to do, accomplish, and there's still things to clean up, but we'll get better.
Well, you used all your receivers tonight, all 7. This versatility in having those wide receivers, how much of an advantage does that give you?
Man, it's a big advantage, man. As long as I can get these playmakers the ball and they do the rest on their feet, you see all the plays they made after the tackle and stuff like that. So just so happy for these guys. Happy we got this win.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. God bless. Go Lions.